Well, I was looking for a prize for my new league, a belt or a ring or a nice trophy. My IDP guys went and had my back. The best swag online for champs is found on Trophy Smack. RING, that spells ring. TrophySmack.com has the bling. Good, so good, I have to sing. Go and check them out, they have everything. I can show that I'm the master of my craft. I'm a champion in fantasy and I won't let you forget that. RING, that spells ring. TrophySmack.com has the bling. Use promo code IDPGuys at checkout for a free ring on TrophySmack.com.
All right, welcome, boys and girls, to another episode of the IDP Plus podcast. I am your host, Dynasty Santa, Steve Thomason. We're going Evil Santa this week with the hoodie up because my birds took an awful loss this week, so I'm kind of down in the dumps here. Usually the way my team and my fantasy teams go dictates my mood for the rest of the week. So fantasy did okay enough, but man, that was a pretty shitty loss to the Jets here. So this week I'm joined by a fill-in co-host, equally as handsome as the previous co-host we have, but Shawn joins us. Shawn, why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, Shawn Tig at Shawn8386 on the Twitter. Been writing here with you guys for a little while. My team did not suffer an embarrassing loss this week, so that's good.
Yeah, lucky you. Awesome. So yeah, Shawn's been doing a really great job writing, and happy to see his face on camera a bit now and voice on audio. So welcome, and I'm happy to dive into week 6 here with you. So we're gonna get it started. So Denver was at Kansas City this week. So the top IDP scores with snap counts, starting off with the cornerback Jaquan McMillan, 23 points on 73% of snaps. Now remember, our scoring is the IDP Invitational charity scoring, so we make cornerbacks relevant again. So there is some enhanced bonus scoring for solo tackles and passes defended for corners. So that's why you see McMillan atop the list here at only 73% of snaps. Right below him, Alex Singleton, 21 points on 100% of snaps, and also chipped in a tackle on special teams. Justin Simmons, 19.6 points on 100% of snaps. Patrick Surtain, the corner, 17.5 points, 100% of snaps. Josie Jewell, although the snaps aren't looking great, 76% of snaps, he did score 16 points, 7 solos, 2 assists with nothing else. So I hope to see Jewell start climbing and kind of replace Singleton there for all the Jewell owners. Jonathan Cooper, the defensive end, 15 points, 66%. Zach Allen, the defensive tackle, 12 points on 89%. Kareem Jackson, the safety, 9 points on 99%. Nick Bonito, the defensive end, 8 points on 77% of snaps. Damari Mathis, the corner, 6 points on 100%. Jonathan Harris, defensive tackle, 5 points, 65%. Mike Purcell, the DT, 5 points on 51%. Ronnie Perkins, the defensive end, 2 points on 39%. Drew Sanders, Tyler Lancaster, and Matt Henningsen, all 1 point on 18, 18, and 15% of snaps. So, Shawn, I'd like to start with Alex Singleton versus Josie Jewell. Is this just Jewell, still kind of ramping up from injury? Like we kind of saw these snap counts flipped at the beginning of the season before Jewell missed, what was it, 1 game with an injury, I believe. So has he, lost his job, or do we think he'll retake the 100% role over Alex Singleton in the coming weeks here?
Yeah, man, good question. Like I say, this was Josie Jewell's show with Singleton as the bat or the Robin here, and
Right.
It has been flipped. And look, I think this is his first game, maybe a second game back from injury. I was thinking it was the first, but I assume that's got something to do with it. I've actually been down on both these guys in recent weeks because it didn't matter who was starting, who was playing, the production just wasn't there. And it's good to see them both producing now. but I would like to see Jewel get back up to that 100% level.
I mean, he's still in this defense, even if Jewel's not getting to 100, you can see there's 16 points. I mean, I guess he's sort of relegated to a matchup play to a certain extent until we do officially see those snaps happen. I mean, I don't think there's really any amount of news or reporting that's going to give us a clear answer to that question. So unfortunately, it does look like it's the Singleton show until we see Jewel officially retake his throne at 100%. So until then, let's say you're deciding between those two specifically, you kind of got to roll with Singleton for the time being over Jewel, just because we want to see it happen officially first. So, we see the corners up there kind of to be expected against the Kansas City Chiefs, and depending who they had on Kelsey and whatnot. So, not a whole lot to take away from there. Pat Surtain is actually, for being kind of like a shutdown type of guy, he's having a really nice fantasy season for a corner. So in your CB required leagues, he's pretty much an auto start at this point. I'm pretty sure he's gotten, let's actually check that. The handy dandy fantasy finishes tool. We go over to corners. Oh, this just tells me his what ranking he finished. But I was thinking, I think he's had double-digit points weeks. So you see, he's a 27th corner. Started off a little slow and has had 2 back-to-back pretty good weeks here. So maybe not an auto start, but I mean 27th. That's basically a CB2. Pretty close to an auto start there if you're in CB required leagues. I want to talk about the edge rusher. So Jonathan Cooper versus Nick Bonito. Bonito played how many more snaps here? 8 more snaps than Cooper, but Cooper happened to get the sack this week. I still like Bonito moving forward as the guy. I mean, he's gonna flip-flop weeks like this with Cooper, and there's gonna be weeks that Bonito gets the sack and Cooper gets nothing. So although the snap counts are very close, he is still edging out Cooper, which is why I kind of like Bonito. And I just like Bonito's kind of talent ceiling the most over Cooper. So what do you think for those two guys?
Yeah, I'm big on Bonito myself, and we just had several games where he got 4 sacks in the last 2 or 3 games. So yeah, I mean, edge rushers, they flip and flop. It's hard to predict, but yeah, long term, yeah. Big concern would be when Baron Browning returns. I don't know, who do you think eats in there, or is he even going to start?
I hate that. I don't think Baron Browning is a worry in the least bit. Benito's Benito's a second-year, second-round guy. Baron Browning is a third-year, 5th or 6th round converted edge rusher.
Right.
I'm not worried in the slightest bit. I think if it affects anyone, it probably affects Cooper. If Browning is going to eat into the snap share. You see Ronnie Perkins is getting run here. They basically dumped Randy Gregory and Frank Clark. So you see Ronnie Perkins getting some run. I believe he's a former 3rd rounder who just from New England who just couldn't shake injury. So, he's getting some run here in Denver. So I think he's pretty talented. So yeah, honestly, Baron Browning is not worrying me about Bonito much at all. If it is going to worry me about someone, I would hope that it eats away from Cooper over Bonito. Because let me check the let's see pass rushing grades. Cooper did have the highest grade this week. How about on the season? Because I'm just thinking, I wonder between the two who's actually okay. So Cooper is grading really well in pass rush. So but I don't know. I feel like Bonito didn't get he's not very far behind. Bonito's only about a little over 10 percentage points behind Cooper in pass rush grading. So Bonito's actually got more pressures than Bonito and 1 more sack. So, he's coming, maybe not with the grades, but Bonito's coming away with stats here. So yeah, I really don't want to let Baron Browning affect outlook for anyone that much. And when is he coming back? I keep hearing that he's coming back.
Right. So until it happens, it hasn't happened.
Yeah. So I'm kind of the anti-worry about Baron Browning guy here. Maybe in the IDP space. So yeah, outside of that, I mean, you see Drew Sanders is pretty much back to nothing. 1 point on 18% of snaps. We've been saying in redraft he's cuttable. Zach Allen, a decent enough game with our scoring. But playing 89%. I'm going to use this phrase, I think, a few times tonight. Zach Allen is like forcing you to start him almost with the snap counts. And like he finally had a nice game last week, but like other than that, and even this game's fine, but it's our scoring's kind of I would say aggressive or more robust. If you're in a depressed scoring IDP league, I mean Zach Allen's like hurting you to start him outside of like 1 week basically. So but yeah, he got home. Yeah, go ahead.
He is not a sexy pick at all right now. It makes you feel dirty to play him. But I mean, with bye weeks coming up, you're gonna be short on options.
Especially with his DT eligibility, as long as he's DT eligible in your leagues, I mean, it's really hard not to start him. And then Kareem Jackson, playing 99% of snaps, not the greatest game here. We did see Justin Simmons come back to being the stud that we know he can be, so that was nice. Trade rumors swirling on Simmons, so if he lands in Philadelphia, I think it's even wheels more up for a guy like Simmons. But took a couple weeks to get healthy here and seems to be at full steam now. So, you got anyone else you want to talk about for Denver?
That's pretty much it. I think you pretty much hit everybody. Good to see Simmons coming back up top. Surtain was surprising to see that high, especially as you say, a shutdown corner. So I'm not rushing out to stream him right now. I don't feel like chasing those points.
Very true. I think he's more of a matchup play going forward. I guess I was blinded by this week. I thought he had done a lot better the previous weeks, but apparently not. All right. For the Kansas City Chiefs, we had top scorer was Justin Reed, 24.1 points on 98% of snaps. Willie Gay, the top linebacker, 16 points on 69% of snaps. Nice. Nick Bolton, 15.1 points on 88%. Chris Jones, 15 points on 88%. My guy, George Karlaftis, 12 points, solid game on 62% of snaps. Imagine if they just played him more. Drew Tranquil still hanging around, 12 points on 37% of snaps. L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie, kind of like meh games in this one. Sneed 9.5 points on 100%. McDuffie 8 points on 92%. They're still kind of auto starts though in CB required leagues. Jalen Watson, the other corner, chimes in with 7.5 points on just 48% of snaps. Malik Herring, defensive end, 7 points, 38%. Leo Chenal, my other guy, wish they would play him more over Tranquil. Just 5 points on 35% of snaps. Mike Edwards, the big plays go away, and you hear lays Mike Edwards with 4 points on 40% of snaps. Joshua Williams, 3.5 points on 19% of snaps. Brian Cook, the main safety, gets his snap share back up a little bit, but only 3 points on 81% of snaps. Chamari Connor, backup safety, 3 points, 10% of snaps. Michael Dana, the defensive end, just 2 points on 90% of snaps. So we definitely got to talk about him. Derek Nandi, the defensive tackle, 2 points on 48%. And the first round rookie, Felix Anduke-Uzomah, 0 points on just 10% of snaps. So I'll flip up back to the top here. Justin Reed, he's the strong safety. We kind of liked him for a bounce back this year. Just really wasn't coming up with the big plays last year. And this year he's doing much better from a fantasy standpoint. He still leaves you out to dry here and there on a couple games, but for Kansas City Chiefs safeties, that's what they're going to do, unfortunately. So you kind of have to take the bad with the good. He'd be an auto start for me in league starting 3 or more defensive backs. Beyond that, you kind of got to guess right on the matchups. The linebackers are back to being very annoying. Willie Gay back to 69%. After I believe last week he was, I believe he was only like 40 something. Let me just check that really quickly. Here's our handy dandy snap tool for subscribers only. So yeah, we've seen him go 67%, 58%, 41 all the way down in week 3, then back up to 76, then back up to 71, and then okay, just a slight dip this week, but he's more efficient with his fantasy production. So what are you doing with these linebackers, man?
Right. I mean, you got to start Bolton. I mean, he's the stud you drafted as, the top 3 linebackers. So you got to start him. Yeah, now I'm not ready to trust Willie Gay or Tranquil or any of them unless I'm in like a super deep league where where I'm starting 5, 6 linebackers. Then,
Right.
But outside of that, you can't trust it. I mean,
go ahead.
The biggest takeaway I see out of all this is 100% of the snaps is 52 snaps this week. So this is an irregular game. You can't trust this fully just because of the game script that we had here. It was low snaps. Some weird things went on in this game. So this could be an outlier week for some of these guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you only have 52 snaps to work with, you're going to have fluky stuff. You're going to have crazy production out of Gay. He recovered a fumble, so that boosted him up. The 6 tackles, 5 solos versus Bolton on 88%, just 4 tackles, 3 solos, but he got an interception. So yeah, just fluky stuff all the way around. Bolton's your guy. Yeah, unless you're starting like 3 to 4 linebackers with flexes, you don't want to chase the Willie Gay points, even the Drew Tranquil points and whatnot. Chris Jones, of course, doing his thing with the sack on 88% of snaps. He even in just DL leagues, he's as long as you're starting 2 DLs, he's probably an auto start going forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Dude has done nothing but register sacks since he came back.
Yeah, he's a monster. Happy to see my guy Karlaftis. He gets a half sack here with 2 passes defended, a QB hit, an assisted tackle, and 2 solos. So like a nice little line. But if you take away, everything to the right here, it's only 3 tackles with 2 solos, which is unfortunately kind of been the norm for him this year. So let's hope that he keeps this momentum. And why the heck are they playing George Karlaftis 62% and Michael Dan at 90%? And crazy that he only comes away with 2 points here in what should have been a very opportune game for him. So like, who do you? All right, if you deep league Karlaftis versus Dana rest of the year, are you betting on the snaps, or if you're like me, I think Karlaftis is a great talent. You betting on the talent?
Yeah, so rest of season, I would say Karlaftis, just because what Dana did in the first part was when Jones wasn't there. So I feel like he's been kind of shoved out with Jones taking over. He's eating up all the production. Karlaftis, he's the young guy. He's going after it. So that's fingers crossed, though.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be a down game for Dana. I mean, it's hard to ignore 90% of snaps for a defensive end. It's like Max Crosby's like level. Like that's kind of crazy. But like you said, it was only 52 available. So maybe he was like, I'm fresh, I can do this. So I still think Karlaftis is the better player for fantasy purposes, but tough to ignore that snap share. So not a whole lot else here unless you got anyone for Kansas City.
No, I think you nailed it.
All right. That brings us to Baltimore and Tennessee. So for the Ravens, the breakout continues for the defensive tackle, Justin Madibuke, 23 points on 78% of snaps. That's great snap percentage for a defensive tackle, especially on the Ravens defensive line. So really, really nice player coming out with Matabuke there. Patrick Queen, the linebacker, 22 points on 100% of snaps. Jadeveon Clowney, a guy I notoriously hate, finally gives you production this week, 18 points on 51% of snaps. After I started him last week, and of course he goes off this week when I send him back to the bench. So typical Clowney.
Of course.
Geno Stone in relief duty for the ejected Kyle Hamilton has steals the points from Hamilton, 14.4 points on just 42% of snaps, and chipped in some production on special teams as well. Had the interception, did Stone. I think that was later in the game. Roquan Smith with a meh game, 13 points, 100% of snaps, gave you tackles with nothing else. Kyle Van Noy, I predicted sack last week, so I was kind of a week ahead on some of these guys. Gets a sack this week, 10 points on 58% of snaps. Then we got a nice little drop off in points here. Marlon Humphrey, the corner, 6 points on 82%. Broderick Washington, the DT, 6 points, 51%. Brandon Stevens, the breakout cornerback, has kind of a dud here, 5 points. I'm still getting 100% of snaps, so I would keep rolling with them. Marcus Williams, just 4 points on 67% of snaps. Malik Harrison, the linebacker, 4 points, 44%. Arthur Mollett, 2.5 points, 56%. Rock Yassin, 2.5 points, 33%. Michael Pierce, 2 points on 67%. Kyle Hamilton, the safety, like we said, got ejected, just 2 points with one solo on 58% of snaps, really hurting you this week. Travis Jones, the defensive tackle, 2 points, 40%. Brent Urban, the defensive tackle, 1 point on 7%. And Tavius Robinson, the edge rusher, playing 45% of snaps, which isn't terrible, but 0 points to go along with that. So, it looks like Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney have those edge rusher spots locked down. Is there anyone you want to talk about here? I mean, there's nothing anything crazy to take away here, I don't think.
Yeah, the biggest thing is the Titans O-line is awful. So
right,
we would expect some of these guys to get these sacks this week. Clowney's not going to do this every week. Van Noy, he could be a 5-6 sack guy throughout the season, but it's hard to
You'll
trust.
never guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be wrong. And Brandon Stevens having a dud again. They're only throwing to DeAndre Hopkins, and then Tannehill got hurt. So just unfortunate IDP week.
Yeah. And then look, another one, only 55 defensive snaps available to the whole crew. So another one that's kind of like, plus Tannehill was terrible. So that just a gross one. But six sacks to go around. Of course, that's not going to happen every week, like you said. But so I mean, but Matabuke really, he's the one I want to focus on. I mean, he's been having a really nice year so far this year. Let's see how his fantasy finishes have been going. So I mean, obviously in DT required, he's like a home run. He's a 6 overall DT so far this year. So had some rough weeks there. Finished 16th, 50th, 30th, 17th these past 2 weeks, 9th and 1st. So hey, tough to argue against that. Of course, Kyle Hamilton screwed everybody. So he had the monster game on a lot of people's benches, and now he's had a decent game after that. But it's been 2 for 6. Like, that's rough.
So, going back to him, I had him on my team. I was starting him. It was a 3-safety league. You start 3 safeties. I dropped him for, I think, Geno Stone that week, and that was the week he went off.
Of course.
So, and I didn't panic and go try to get him back because with his usage, I'm like, there's no way he's going to duplicate that.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting there. Which, when you got, Roquan and Patrick Queen in front of you, tackle opportunities are lower. His usage is kind of all over the place. We don't really know where they're going to put him.
Right.
So don't be scared to drop a defensive back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's not dynasty, like there's no reason to hang to this guy right now at all. Totally agree there. All right, for the Titans, top scorer Aziz Al-Shair, 24 points on 100% of snaps. Kevin Byard and takes another one over my guy Amani Hooker, but they still did well. Both did well. 18 points on 100% of snaps. Shawn Murphy-Bunting, 17 points on 97%. Came away with an interception on this one. Harold Landry finally gets home with a sack, 17 points on 66% of snaps. Here's Amani Hooker, 16 points, 100% of snaps. Also chipped in some production on special teams. Jack Givens quietly having a very solid LB2 year behind Shair. Well, LB2 fantasy like LB3 or 4, but he's been damn solid with these double-digit point games. So 15 points on 68% of snaps. Christian Fulton, the corner, 11 points, 77%. Denico Autry, kind of a down game here, 7 points, 76%. Jalil Johnson, another defensive tackle, 7 points, 34%. Kyle Pecco, another defensive tackle, 5 points on 45%. Trey Avery, the corner, 5 points on just 25%. Jeffrey Simmons at the bottom of the defensive tackle scoring for some reason, just 4 points, but played 90% of snaps. So you're still rolling with him. Don't panic here. Shaheem Carter, 3.5, the corner, 3.5 points on just 18%. Rashad Weaver had a nice little breakout last year, but even dynasty, you can cut bait in pretty much any league. Just 2 points on just 17% of snaps. Roger McCreary, a big letdown here. Just 1 point on 65% snaps. I assume he must have gone down injured at some point in the game. I'm not totally sure there. Naquan Jones, the defensive tackle, 1 point on 35%. And Arden Key, he played 68% of snaps, the edge rusher, but 0 points. So Harold Landry took all the opportunity this week at the edge rusher position. So what do you got for the Titans here?
So the last I recall, Roger McCreary was not injured. He just wasn't played that much this week. So that's a huge shock.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I don't either. I know Murphy Bunting, he's been the main one to rack up tackles for at cornerback, but it's low tackles, 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there.
Right.
Al-Shair, we expected him to be good this year. It's good to see him racking up some big numbers. Byard was Byard. Denico Autry has cooled off. So that's been hurting his value because he started out pretty hot with, I think 3 games with sacks.
Right.
Jeffrey Simmons, I don't know if that was just a matchup issue or if he was injured. Like, that's odd for him not to have gotten more tackles at least. McCreary, I would not feel comfortable trying to stream him right now or hold on to him. It's just not there. Arden Key is the guy that kind of kicked Rashad Weaver out, and he has done damn near nothing. So
he had like 1 week so far, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good to see Harold Landry get up there and get a sack. So I'm hoping that starts manifesting some more production. Yeah, finally.
Just when people just probably gave up on him, he decides to give us a game with some production.
Well, some of his last interviews, he was talking about how he's starting to feel more like himself again. So rust, maybe, not playing in preseason, trying to build confidence back up. So I'm hoping he kicks off the rest of the season here.
Yeah, he was coming off a pretty bad injury, so that kind of is to be suspected. So yeah, I might, depending on the matchup, I might try to chase him.
A little, don't go too overboard with it.
Yeah, and they have a bye this week, of course, so that's
right. yeah, the week we need him. And then Jack Gibbons is somebody I have in quite a few leagues, but I play in a lot of real deep IDP only leagues. So I mean, we get pretty hairy spot. So, but as a linebacker 3, 4, I mean, this dude has been solid. You can do way worse than him.
He's had double digits almost every week except for week 2, and then it was 8 points, so he just missed it. So yeah, I mean, you can't ask for much better than that in a guy only playing this 60 to 70% of snaps range and still just doing everything he can with the opportunities from a tackle standpoint. That the tackle floor is amazing. So if you're in tackle heavy leagues, I mean, Jack Gibbons again, they're on bye this week, but might be a nice stash if you have the room to do it for week 8. So all right. I don't have much more for this game. So we go to Commanders Falcons. So Commanders, some top heavy scores here. Kendall Fuller, 35.8 points on 98% of snaps. Had the interception. So, with our scoring, did he take it back to the house? I'm trying to.
I think he came close. I think he came up just short.
Oh, so he got yardage to go along with that in this scoring. Okay. So he got yardage for however long the interception return was, even if it wasn't for a touchdown. So, tough to trust, obviously, a corner to do that every week. And 9 solos for a corner, like that ain't happening every week either. So, be a little cautious there. Don't go crazy, checking the box score on that one. Despite the stats, I mean, in a CB required league, he's obviously a top guy to be considered every week. Just, don't plug him in, expecting this every week.
Yeah.
Cameron Curl, of course, is a stud. Now he's a guy you lock into your lineup no matter what, every single week. Even if it's start one defensive back, he's in there every single week. 25 points, 100% of snaps, just doing Cam Curl things. Benjamin St. Juste, we've been talking about him on the show, like in CB required leagues. He's playing close to 100% of snaps. Now, his production's kind of lumpy, but in these games, I mean, Washington with all their turnovers, all the sacks that Sam Howell takes, a lot of their games are going to be close. So like you could do a lot worse than St. Juste in your corner required leagues, and even in some really deep, dynasty type large roster leagues, if you're starting like 4 DBs with flexes on top of it, he could certainly earn consideration in leagues like that as a starter. So, 24.5 points on 98% of snaps. The fraud Jamin Davis comes back and has a good game, 24 points on 90% of snaps, his highest snap share of the year, 8 tackles, 4 solo, and a sack, and an interception. With the pass defended, so that's why he had such a nice game. We'll see if this 90% keeps up. And then my guy Cody Barton right below him, 20 points on 100% of snaps. Also in this one, we look at 100% of snaps was 83. So you compare a game like this, 83 snaps available to some of the guys we were talking about previously at like 55 or 57. Like, it is very, very difficult to predict those game scripts and how long people are going to be field. And you're going to see it when I flip over to Atlanta, because this game was pretty close for the most part for most of the game. And we had a huge discrepancy in the snaps available to each of these teams. So we'll get there. But Cody Barton still 100%, like having a really nice year as the LB1 in Washington. Casey Toohill steals 2 sacks for 16 points on just 22% of snaps. This is super frustrating because the defensive linemen for the Commanders all kind of stunk this week. Would have been nice to have those sacks go to someone else, but for whatever reason, this guy Toohill, like not even someone I'm super familiar with. He's a linebacker / edge type guy. Like very annoying that he stole 2 sacks on just 22% of snaps. Below him, Jonathan Allen had the best game on the defensive line, the D tackle, 12 points, 83%. Danny Johnson at backup corner, 9.5 points, 63%. Here's Deron Payne, the defensive tackle stud, just 7 points on 83% of snaps. You got to keep rolling him out there with that snap percentage. John Ridgeway steals some points as a defensive tackle, 6 points on just 40% of snaps. Kaliki Hudson has 5 points on just 12% of snaps, takes away some tackles. Percy Butler. So here's our Derek Forrest replacement, right? In sort of the free safety role. Gave us almost no production, just 4 points, but did play 100% of snaps. So maybe in a different matchup, Forrest was kind of up and down too, because he is like their free safety. So it's tough to get your production out of those kinds of guys on a consistent week-to-week basis, but definitely someone to note here at 100% of snaps, for a waiver wire potential addition. Behind him, Jartavius Martin, who some thought could be challenging, 4 points, but he just played 8% of snaps and gave us some production on special teams. So I think this is Percy Butler's job to lose. James Smith-Williams, the defensive end, 3 points on just 39%. Montez Sweat gets hurt, just 2 points on 40%. That one hurt. I did research. He appears to have avoided serious injury. So he hurt his thumb. So possibly some ligament damage there, but they said he avoided serious injury. So if he misses any time at all, it might only be a couple of weeks or 1 week or 0. So fortunately, he won't. It doesn't sound like he'll be having an IR stint despite missing 60% of this game. F.A. Obata, the defensive end, 2 points, 30%. And Chase freaking Young. Just when last week me and Matt said, oh, he's back. Chase Young is back. Get him back into your lineups. 1 point on 90% of snaps. Desmond Ridder can get sacked. Like, what the heck, Shawn?
I mean, I started Chase Young and Montez Sweat in the same league. All right, that's how my week went.
It's so brutal. It's not fair.
Bummer, man. It's so bad. That's such a dud. I know he got pressures, but we don't see the quarterback hits and we don't see the sacks. So pressures are useless in this instance here.
Until they get converted.
Until they hit home, it's a strike. So, Emmanuel Forbes, the rookie, was benched this game.
Oh, so he was active and didn't play.
Yes, Danny Johnson was his replacement.
Damn.
So we don't know if it's just kind of a one game, kind of sit down, realign yourself, come back, or if it will be going forward. But right now, he has been benched for Danny Johnson.
Yikes.
So that was one of the biggest things I've seen in this. And again, you talking about 83 snaps.
Yeah.
That's 30 snaps more than half these other guys we just talked about. So you're going to see inflated numbers here. But man, the Commanders' defense has been producing studs all year. It's just hate to see it on the week where Chase Young got nothing.
Yeah, it just unfortunately was spread between the secondary and the linebackers this week.
Casey Toohill.
Casey freaking Toohill. So, okay, the message is do not go chase those points.
Yes.
Again, 22% of snaps. Do not pick up Toohill unless it's like a 53-man best ball league. Do not do it. Don't chase the points, okay? We try to be as clear as possible with that kind of stuff. Continue to start Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, Montez Sweat, and unfortunately Chase Young. Let's just chalk it up to a rough game. So all right, obviously we flick to Atlanta. We can see that 100% of snaps was just 51 defensive snaps available. So this seems to kind of be, I feel like the past couple of weeks for Atlanta, this is kind of what's happening. So not a lot of IDP fantasy points on the bone here. Top scorer, Nate Landman, 14 points on just 76% of snaps. Behind him, Bud Dupree, who gets home with 1.5 sacks, 14 points on 76%. Calais Campbell, shakes off the age rust and gives us 14 points on 71% of snaps. Also got home for a sack this week. Arnold Ebiketie, a former second-round guy, 12 points on just 27% of snaps, but he had 1.5 sacks. Again, you're not chasing that. Do not go chase that. Grady Jarrett, as solid as can be, 10 points, 80%. Got home for a sack. Very nice. Jesse Bates, just 8 points, played 100% snaps. Again, 51 snaps available. It's not great. Caden Ellis is still losing points to Nate Landman, which is frustrating me beyond end. 8 points, 100% of snaps, gave us 4 solos and nothing else versus, Landman had 8 tackles, 6 solos with nothing else. So I'm still rolling Ellis out there. I believe in him, but man, this is really getting annoying. Jeff Okuda, the corner, 7.5 points on 100% of snaps. With inflated corner scoring, his 2 passes defended made up the bulk of that. Richie Grant, just 7 points, but played 100% of snaps. David Onyemata, 7 points on 71%. AJ Terrell, the corner, 6 points, 100%. Zach Harrison, the defensive end, rookie, 4 points, just 16%. Lorenzo Carter, 2 points, just 29%. D'Amico Helms, a backup safety, 2 points, 24%. And Albert Huggins, LaCale London, 1 point each, 20% each for those backup defensive tackles. So, yeah, I mean, when you got 51 snaps available, there's not a whole lot of takeaways here. You're starting the 100% guys because, we've seen a lot of these guys' ceilings. I don't think we've seen Ellis's ceiling quite yet, right? But, Grant's going to have good games. Bates going to have good games. Landman's, being solid. And Ellis is solid enough. Beyond that, there's nobody else I want to touch, even in deep leagues, on this defense. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like we were talking about the Titans having a bad offensive line, I think the Commanders are giving up the most sacks and the most, points to edge rushers. So these are like some of these guys' first sacks of the season.
Yep.
So we're not chasing that. It's whoever's playing the Commanders is the guys we want that week. If you're streaming these guys, that's the week. I will say Calais Campbell got his 100th sack on that one sack.
Oh, very cool.
That was a big accomplishment. I thought that was cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you on Caden Ellis, man. He is frustrating me beyond belief right now with this matchup. And as bad as this line is, I felt like this was the week he was going to get a sack or two. So I'm bummed on. I'm not sure what his usage is as far as blitzing or coming off the edge or anything, but it's a bit frustrating for him not to be producing more than just 4 solos at 100% snaps. Granted, it was only 51 snaps, but still.
Right. Yeah, not great on this one. Just one pass rush. Same as Landman. No pressures. Not great. Not great for this game.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're maximizing his abilities here.
No, they're definitely not. Let me see for the year. He is 8th on the team, but he's not seeing. Yeah, and that's what he was so good at last year, right?
That was his bread and butter.
It's very, very annoying. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. No. This is why I'm on a crusade for people to adopt best ball scoring, especially in IDP leagues, because we can't fix these coaches and these personnel decisions and these usage decisions. It's like we've seen what they're good at, and now when they're not, being used that way, like what can he do? He's playing 100% snaps, so you don't want to miss out when he eventually has that game, which it feels like it's got to be coming. But man, this is just super frustrating. So Bud Dupree at 76%, that's nice, but without the 1.5 sacks, you don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, don't chase that. Those were his first sacks of the season. Calais Campbell's first sack.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Same with Calais Campbell.
Yeah.
So Sam, it's not only is the Commanders' defensive line, but it's Sam Howell. Like he's just taking the most sacks in the league too. So
I appreciate him.
So the message is start the 100% guys and Nate Landman, and that's about it.
Yeah, you're not trusting anybody else out of this group.
All right, takes us to the Vikings and the Bears. Some nice defensive points here, despite Justin Fields getting knocked out, or maybe because of Justin Fields getting knocked out. We had some really nice IDP production here. So Jordan Hicks, 32.9 points on 100% of snaps. Returned, I believe, his fumble for a touchdown. So to go along with a pass defended and an interception, 5 assists and 5 solos. So really awesome game from Hicks. Daniil Hunter, 27 points on 85%, 2 sacks for Hunter. So gotta love that. Byron Murphy, the corner, 25.2 points on 98% based off an interception, along with 3 passes defended. So really nice game from him. My guy, Josh Metellus, the safety, who's really kind of playing the linebacker 2 role and just a Swiss Army knife. They've got him everywhere, and which is why I liked him so much for fantasy. Chips in with 25 points on 89% of snaps. Also gave us some of his production on special teams. So they are literally doing everything with that guy. Cameron Bynum, the safety, solid as ever, 18 points on 100% of snaps. Caleb Evans, the other corner, 17.5 points, 76%. DJ Wanham, a decent game, 15 points, 71%. That was on the back of a sack, along with a pass defended, QB hit, a tackle for loss, an assist, and 3 solos. So very, full stat sheet from Wanham this game. Harrison Phillips comes back with a nice game, 12 points, 82%. Also got a sack in this one. Harrison Smith kind of back down to earth, 8 points, 100% of snaps. Kind of is what it is with him. Jonathan Bullard, defensive tackle, 6 points, 62%. Patrick Jones, defensive end, edge rusher, 6 points, 53%. Kairis Tonga, 5 points, the defensive tackle on 45%. Andrew Booth, their rookie corner, 5 points, 39%. Dean Lowry, the defensive tackle, 3 points, 38%. Our guy, Ivan Pace, crash falling, 3 points on just 18% of snaps. That's why I was calling Josh Metellus the LB2, because Harrison Smith and Cam Bynum both play 100% of snaps. Metellus plays 89. He's basically the linebacker too. So Ivan Pace, unfortunately, can be cut. If you can swap him for Josh Metellus, I absolutely would do that because, he kind of seems to be losing grip there. And I left on Marcus Davenport, 0 points on 26%. Thanks a lot. Gave us, a glimmer of hope last week. Some of us desperately, foolishly started him, and we're rewarded with our typical Marcus Davenport production here. And Brian Asamoah, 0 points, but 11% of snaps. So only a 5-snap difference now between Asamoah and Ivan Pace. So not loving that. I don't know if that's due to play or just matchups or whatnot, but kind of unfortunate to see Pace, kind of free falling down here. So what do you got for the Vikings? Who you want to touch on?
Yeah, so I think Davenport was hurt again. I don't know. I don't care. I'm done with him. I will.
How many times have we said that?
I will never have Marcus. I will not preach that. Oh, this could be the week for him, or he's going to play a lot. No, he doesn't exist. He's off my radar completely.
You're a stronger man than me. I've said that.
I'm not falling for it again.
Multiple times in multiple seasons now, so I can't quit him.
he will never get me again. Ivan Pace, it sucks seeing him after that hot start. Like you say, Metellus is pretty much taking over that spot, so I don't have a lot of hope that he's going to regain anything anytime soon as far as playing time goes. With the Bears being as run heavy as they were, you would think this would be an Ivan Pace game where just run up and thump them, and that just didn't manifest this week. Cam Bynum has been one of my favorite pickups all year.
Hell yeah.
9 solos, not just 9 tackles, 9 solos. I mean, that's
right.
Fantastic. That's exactly what we want. Hunter, he's on a tear this year. I love seeing that.
Stud, start him every week.
Yes. There's no don't even question this. Just set him. Don't ask us. There's nobody I'm going to take to swap him out for.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Phillips.
I think.
Good.
Go ahead. Yeah. Playing 100%. You kind of gotta. You're just gonna have to take the bad with the good, especially if the good is what we saw a couple weeks ago. So kind of is what it is. Yeah, I mean, from a fantasy and a waiver perspective, I mean, I want Josh Metellus on my team for sure.
Yes.
Hopefully he stays healthy. DJ Wanham, he's going to do this. He's going to be lumpy all year. 15 points this week, could be 3 next week. Like,
Right.
I'm not a big fan, but hey, if Davenport's going to miss time again, then might be worth a flyer in some of your super deep leagues. So,
It would have to be super deep.
anything else?
Nah, I think that's good. I think we got it.
All right, flicking over to the Bears, TJ Edwards just taking a commanding lead and head versus head against Tremaine Edmonds. I think it's like 5-1 or something like that now. So 22 points, 89% of snaps. Also gave some of that production on special teams. So TJ Edwards, he's getting after the quarterback, which hasn't. I would have thought this would be reversed. Right. So this is right. He had a sack last week and a sack this week. I totally would have thought it would have been Edmonds going after the quarterback. So I just called that wrong. I can capitulate now, as one of my favorite analysts, Evan Silva, likes to say. And I was wrong. It's TJ Edwards over Edmonds, although Edmonds still giving you solid enough games, but Edwards just has the ceiling ahead of Edmonds this year. So it just kind of is what it is. Justin Jones, the defensive tackle, 16 points, 75% snaps. He's a Hail Mary each week in your DT required leagues, Justin Jones, just purely because of the playing time. I mean, he's not going to give you 16 points every week. He happens to have a high, 5 solos, 2 assists, 2 TFLs, and 2 QB hits. Like, that's probably his ceiling. 16 points. But with those snaps, if you're in a pinch and a bye and he's out there available, then worth it. Not someone you need to rush and grab and hold on to as a roster stash, but like purely a streaming type of play in DT required leagues only. Jaquan Brisker comes back to life a little bit with 15 points on 100% of snaps, gets a half sack to go with 3 solos, 3 assists, and a QB hit, and a forced fumble. Jack Sanborn, 14 points on just 33%. Also gave some of this production on special teams, 5 solos, 3 assists, a TFL. So I don't know what to say about that. Steals some production away from my guy, Tremaine Edmonds, just 13 points, but did play 100% of snaps. Only 2 solos, so that's where he hurts you. Edwards had 7 solos and 1 assist. Edmonds, 2 solos, 4 assists, along with a pass defended and a fumble recovery. So kind of saved his day there. Tyreek Stevenson in the corner, 11 points on 98%. Jalen Johnson, another corner, 7.5 points on 100%. Yannick Ngakoue, 7 points on 74%, and did that without a sack. So how about that? His floor isn't 0. Kyler Gordon, the returns from injury to 7 points, but just 61% of snaps. We expect that to ramp up as the weeks go up, probably eating into Jalen Johnson a little bit there. DeMarcus Walker, the defensive end, 6 points, 74%. Zach Pickens, the rookie, 4 points on just 18%. Elijah Hicks, the safety, just 3 points on 75%. Dominique Robinson, the defensive end, 2 points on 39%. Eddie Jackson returns, but in meek fashion, just 2 points on just 25% of snaps. So either they're ramping him up very, very slowly, and he will eat into Elijah Hicks. You see that split was very even, 75% and 25%. Or he got re-injured. I'm not sure. I would have to look deeper into that. My guess is that they're ramping him up slowly. Andrew Billings, the defensive tackle, just 1 point, 53%, and Rasheem Green, 1.40%. So give me what you got for the Bears.
Man, Brisker has been disappointing up until this game, but we were expecting a bigger game for him this week. So I still don't know what to expect from him, if it's still going to be matchup dependent, or I don't feel like I can just set him and forget him. So I have lost confidence in him.
Agreed.
Tyreek Stevenson was somebody I expected to have a bigger game with, the Vikings, pass offense. But Justin Jefferson, maybe that's had something to do with it.
Right.
Yeah, Yannick, that's big tackles for him.
You're pleasantly surprised with that with no sack, right?
I was, man. It's sack or nothing with him. It always is. So I'm blown away. Like
Yeah.
this feels like a win.
How
Even
about
though he
it?
didn't get the sack.
Yeah. It
Um,
absolutely does.
yeah, he's a boomer bust.
Uh,
I haven't heard anything about Eddie Jackson being injured, so I do think this is slowly bringing him back in. It's TJ Edwards is the only real guy I go for on this team.
mhm.
Edmonds, he's solid. Uh, if unspectacular, he is solid. So Jack Sanborn, what do you do with this guy? Like,
I mean,
we
I've
see
already
the
dropped
numbers.
him.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about
I've been dropping him in the deeper dynasty leagues just because I've needed moves, and I just don't.
Okay.
I think my options are better, but if your options aren't great, you can still hold him.
I hate seeing how well he runs around and gets tackles
Mm,
and doesn't get any playing time. Like I really wish he was
kind of
in a.
annoying.
It is. It sucks. But yeah, I trust Edwards. You could trust Edmonds to pretty much do what they did this week about every week.
Yeah.
Brisker, I don't have confidence unless the matchup is just great.
Yeah.
Other
Eddie
than that,
Jackson did get injured in the middle of the game again, re-injured.
okay.
They said he could have come back if needed, but I think that they just didn't want to risk it with him. So
They already had the loss wrapped up and didn't need him. I got you.
exactly. It probably happened after Justin Fields, and they were probably like, yeah, we're not gonna lose him too. We're not gonna lose Eddie Jackson too. So.
I don't blame him.
All right. Yeah, I mean, so Sanborn, like, he was a great story last year. I feel like people might be hanging on to that, almost like sentimental value in those
Right.
deeper leagues because he's certainly not being, rostered or played in more shallow leagues. So yeah, I've cut bait. I'm sure some people will immediately go snag him, but I'm not super worried about it. Like, yeah, if one of Edwards or Edmonds goes down, yeah, he's probably gonna walk back into being like a stud again. But like, he's just never gonna hold that dynasty value for me. So if that happens, if we get that lucky again this year and you don't trade him, you're doing dynasty wrong. Unless you're like, needing him and you're competing with a winning squad, like sell him for a second round pick and cash in.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, Seattle and Cincy. So low scoring game, not a lot of snaps available for Seattle. Devin Witherspoon tops the scoring for Seattle again, 17.5 points on 100%. Quandre Diggs, the safety right behind him, 16 points on 100%. Trey Brown, the corner, 13.5 points, 72%. Draymond Jones gives life for the first time this year, I think. 12 points on 70% of snaps, gets home with a sack. Jordan Brooks, 11 points on 81%. Jamal Adams, 10 points on 85%. Jaron Reed gets a sack and 10 points on 74%. Boyd Mafe gets a sack, 8 points on 56%. So those guys are pretty much sack or bust right now. Although Jaron Reed had been pretty solid. So we like to see more than 3 total tackles from him, but he did get home for the sack, which is nice. Tariq Woolen, just 7.5 points on 100% of snaps. So would expect to see that production go up if he's going to be playing 100%. So Julian Love craters to 7 points on 44% of snaps as they ramp Jamal Adams back up. Also gave us some production on special teams, so not great. If Jamal Adams can happen to stay healthy, it looks like Love might be a cut in your seasonal league. So Bobby Wagner, a dud, 6 points, 100% snaps, just 4 tackles, nothing else, only 2 solos. So he hurt you this week, but I kind of just comes with the territory at times. It's very rare. I mean, we've seen even Zaire Franklin, not have monster games, so it's tough to to count on even Bobby Wagner's to give you, monsters every single week. Uchenna Nwosu, the edge rusher, defensive end, just 3 points on 78%. So all the sacks went to his counterparts this week. So just didn't happen to get home. Mario Edwards, the defensive end, 3 points, 28%. Derek Hall, the rookie defensive end, 2 points, 22%. Miles Adams, the defensive tackle, 2 points, 20%. And Daryl Taylor, the defensive end, just 1 point on 44%. So anyone you want to call out for the Seahawks here? I mean, outside of Wagner's dud, I don't see a lot to take away. And then the Julian Love, like I mentioned.
Yeah, the Julian Love kind of hurt because I had him rostered quite a bit, and I really thought there would be I don't know what I thought. I guess I thought there would be enough snaps to go around for all three of them.
Yeah.
Now the
there
Bengals
kind of was, right? I mean, 44% isn't horrible. He just didn't give you any production.
I think he got injured once or twice. I think he came out a few times as well.
There you go.
That could be skewed a bit.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing? Quandre Diggs. The Bengals are a good matchup for safeties. So that's a little higher than what we're probably going to get him for.
Right. He's more that free safety, right?
Yeah. He's the deep guy. So this is probably his stealing.
Agree.
Witherspoon, I like how they're using him. I love the way they're using him. I really do.
It's very nice.
I could watch him play all day. I loved watching him in college, watching his tape. Like he's phenomenal. I can go on and on about that, but it's good to see him producing.
Yeah,
some fantasy value here. So just a dud for Wagner. Just take it on the chin. Let's go on. He'll be back.
Yeah. Agreed. Draymond Jones gets a sack. That's probably going to be very lumpy all year. So he's pretty much a weekly Hail Mary play. So I wouldn't go crazy chasing that. 70% is fine, but we saw Uchenna Nwosu play 78% with no sack, and he's usually the sack guy. So this whole line on the interior and exterior is just kind of a mess, and it's going to be different guys every week. And
again, the Bengals aren't the greatest offensive line either, so it's a little off this week. And again, only 54 snaps,
exactly
were available. So crazy weird.
For the Cincinnati side, we had a bit more snaps to go around, so you can see a bit more scoring to go around. 74 snaps available. So Cam Taylor-Britt, it was a pick six, right? It must have been. So 33.4 points for the corner, Cam Taylor-Britt. I believe that's 2 pick sixes in a row in back-to-back weeks. The previous week, he had nothing else. He basically pulled a Tyrann Mathieu from the other week. He had 1 tackle and the pick six. This week, 7 tackles to go along with the pick six and 3 passes defended. So he's a corner who plays 100% snaps. The Bengals have just been in some weird games to start the year. So if you keep trending, he's a guy that you might want to go after in cornerback required leagues. But in DB only leagues, I'm still kind of being a little pessimistic on that production going forward. So Logan Wilson, the linebacker, 27 points on 100%. So, last week it was Pratt. This week it was Wilson. That's getting kind of annoying because it doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason when one goes off versus the other. I mean, Wilson is playing 100% of the snaps, so he theoretically should be the locked in guy. But, this week it pays you off. He's had a couple of duds, prior to this week. So, I don't know what to say about him. I mean, so here's another one. He's kind of forcing you to start him, and you're gonna hope that he gives you more production similar to these games than anything else. Sam Hubbard, the defensive end, 21 points, 88%. Mike Hilton, 20.5 points, 86% on the back of an interception. Dax Hill just continues to be solid, 18 points on 99% for the safety. Trey Hendrickson, in a game that I thought he would regress after 2 really strong weeks for Hendrickson, who I do believe is very matchup dependent, but 15 points on 66% this week. So he did get home with a sack and gave us 4 tackles, 3 solo, 3 TFLs, and a QB hit. So a very full box score for Hendrickson this week, when a lot of times he can kind of be sack or bust. Jermaine Pratt, 11 points, 95%. DJ Turner, the rookie corner, fills in for Chidobe Awuzie, who got injured. So he had 10 points on 84%. That could be something if you need an Awuzie replacement, depending on how long, if he's going to miss time. BJ Hill, the defensive tackle, 10 points, 74%. Cam Sample, the DN, 9 points on just 24%. Don't chase the sack that he had. DJ Reader, the defensive tackle, 6 points, 69, nice percent. Nick Scott, the safety, had his snaps increase. So last week we had talked about Nick Scott versus Jordan Battle, potentially seeing Jordan Battle eat into his playing time, which definitely happened last week. This week, back up to 92%, but only 5 points worth of production on 2 solos, 1 assist, nothing else. So maybe Battle gets a chance next week. So Battle was right behind him with 3 points on 1 solo, 1 assist, but just 9%. So he nearly equaled his production on 90 less percent snaps. So that's kind of crazy. Zach Carter, the defensive tackle, 2 points, 35%. Joseph Osai, the edge rusher, DN, 2 points, 30%. Joe Bacci, backup linebacker, 1.1%. So I left Chidobe Awuzie on there, 0 points on 19%, went down injured. We'll have to monitor his status in your CB leagues. I have Miles Murphy on there after a sack. I think it was 2 weeks ago. He's down to 1% of snaps at 0 points. So that you're kind of disappointed to see that. You thought he might be able to build some momentum, but Trey Hendrickson just playing too well to let him not be on the field, unfortunately. So So what do you got on the Bengals?
Nick Scott, I'm cutting bait with. I'm not holding on to him.
Agree.
It's been too up and down, and eventually we expected Battle to take this over at some point, right?
It's coming. I feel like
it's coming, right? And he's not producing while he's in there, so there's no point in keeping a safety who isn't producing.
Yep.
Dax Hill's been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Wilson, a very complete game here with the sacks and everything. Like I said, he's been struggling, and Jermaine Pratt was actually outscoring him in fantasy.
Yeah.
It's probably swapped now. Trey Hendrickson. I've been impressed with his consistency here. Kind of looked at him as that Yannick Ngakoue type, boom or bust, and he's been booming a lot.
Yeah, it looks like Wilson has officially overtaken Pratt with this week's scores. But yeah, you can see neither of them. It's been, 37th and 7th, 41st, 39th, 26th, 110th. So a total dud game from Pratt in week 3. 89th and 47th, 32nd and 7th, 7th and 49. So just this complete roller coaster. That's why I said it's getting very, very annoying. We'd like if they both would just finish in like the 20s, that would be great, but I just don't think we're going to see that coming. So
DJ Turner might be a guy we're streaming going forward.
Yeah, depending on Awuzie. I can check, see if there's any updates on what exactly happened to Mr. Awuzie. Oh, and so he looks like he was a game time decision to begin with. Fighting a back issue. So he must have, his back's bad. So probably not something that's going to have him miss time. But hey, if he is declared inactive officially, maybe going forward, of course they have a bye this week. So week 8, he gets an extra week to heal. So, but yes, I do agree. That is a name in your corner leagues. DJ Turner, a rookie, I believe, second rounder or second or third.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So high draft capital and a very talented guy, just, a rookie playing behind an incredibly solid vet. Mike Hilton is the slot guy. So it's Awuzie and who else would be? That's pretty much it. They don't play a lot of nickel.
Taylor Britt is
Oh,
the other.
yes, Taylor Britt. Sorry, he's the other outside man. But yeah, so the third man could easily be Turner there if Awuzi's not gonna have his back issues figured out going forward. So
Yeah, nothing too crazy here. Studs are studs.
yeah, you kind of
Business as
again.
usual.
Pratt and Wilson are sort of forcing you to start them each week, and you're just gonna have to take your roll with the punches,
Mhm.
All right. 49ers and Browns with one of the other upset of the week. Both undefeated teams go down. So on the San Fran side, we did have 76 snaps available on defense, but unfortunately kind of top heavy scoring. So Dimadore Lenoir, the corner, has been kind of hot and cold. 22.3 points on 95%. Fred Warner does his thing, 21.2 points on 100% on the back of an interception. Nick Bosa gets home for a sack, 15 points, 89%. We had people in the Discord, worrying about benching Nick Bosa. He said, don't do that. You don't ever bench Nick Bosa. I mean, this was a solid game. The monster game is coming. Like the 3-4 sack game is right around the corner. You know it's coming. Do not ever bench Bosa. You got to just take the bad with the good. I would say this is a good game. So newly acquired Randy freaking Gregory gets home for a sack, 15 points, but just 34% of snaps. I wouldn't chase that.
No.
Maybe just rejuvenated. Just so annoying when you've got, we saw what Drake Jackson has the potential to do in the beginning of the year, but he hasn't done anything since. And now you see Randy Gregory just waltz right into 15 points and a sack. Like, this is IDP for you, man. Travarius Ward, their top corner, the other top corner, 14 points, 100%. Talanoa Hufanga, 13 points on 100%. So nice to see him not give you a down game this week. Oren Burks, so we had no Drake Greenlaw this week. Keep your eyes on that. In our write-ups, we told you that Oren Burks. So I'll insert my quick ad here. We beyond what we cover here, we have written articles twice a week, 2 monster articles, reviewing the games and previewing the games. So waiver wires and your start sits in written format, only available as a subscriber though. So if you go on, use the IDP +pod for 10% off, try us out. I guarantee we'll help you. We gave you this information that Oren Burks was going to be the replacement if Dre Greenlaw or Fred Warner were to go down. He's going to fill in for either of them. So he does this week. 12 points, plays 100% of snaps. I don't even know if Greenlaw's hit 100 yet this year. I think he has a couple of times, but so 4 solos, 4 assists, nothing else. But man, if he's going to be on the field, if Greenlaw misses time, he's absolutely someone you should be going to get. You should have been going to get him on Saturday or Sunday when we knew Greenlaw might be out. So behind him, Javon Hargrave, the defensive tackle, 12 points, 64%. Does it without getting a sack. So nice to see Hargrave chipping in 6 tackles, 5 solos, and a QB hit. A nice floor game for him without the sack. So very nice. Isaiah Oliver, their slot corner, 9 points, 75%. Cleveland Farrell, 8 points, 47%. Arik Armstead, the other D tackle, 7.71. So very good floor games with no sacks from the defensive tackles there. Demetrius Flanagan Fowles, a linebacker, say that 3 times fast, is a linebacker on the 49ers, apparently. 7 points on 25%. Kevin Givens, backup D tackle, 6 points, 26%. Deshaun Gibson plays 100% of snaps. His usual, not a great production game, just 5 points. Kind of that free safety. Javon Kinlaw, the bust of a first-round pick at defensive tackle, 4 points on 38%. And Drake Jackson at least shows up in the box score this week, 1 point on 29%. So, outside of Burks, anything crazy here for San Francisco?
Yeah, just the Randy Gregory thing. Just don't chase that. Considering how bad the Browns were expected to be for this game with PJ Walker leading the way, I think everybody did really well.
Yeah.
Because this had the makings of a 40 snap game, basically.
Right.
I think everybody did solid. The studs did studly things. So
yeah, start your studs, and the big name is Oren Burks to keep a watch on. So on the Cleveland side, we had 62 snaps, so not about average, but very, very top heavy this game. So Martin Emerson, the corner, the slot corner, 27.4 points on 73% on the back of an interception there. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, finally has a nice game, 19 points on 79% of snaps. So, that's one we're going to have to talk through. Do we chase it? Do we not? Only 3 solos, but had 2 assists, 3 TFLs, got home for a sack, and 2 QB hits. So those 3 solos kind of worry me because that's his usual. He doesn't usually get all this extra stuff here. So I personally am probably not chasing that, but I'll let you chime in once I get through the list here. Rodney McLeod comes out of nowhere at safety for 16 points on 74%. Also gave us special teams production. Grant Delpit, kind of a dud game for what we expect out of him. The normal stud safety, only 11 points, but did play 100% of snaps. So I don't know what was going on there. Greg Newsome, the corner, 8.5 points, 76%. This is where we drop off pretty good. Juan Thornhill, the other did play 97% of snaps at safety, but 8 points on the snaps. Sione Takitaki, a guy I really like, still kind of ramping up from injury, I think. 63% of snaps, 7 points, but on the back of a sack and a QB hit. He only had 1 solo to go with that. So I'm keeping my eyes on him, but I'm not grabbing him just yet. Myles Garrett, no sack, means 5 points on 82% of snaps. Did get a QB hit, just didn't get home this week. My other guy, Ogbania Okoronkwo, just 4 points on 58% of snaps on a tackle for loss, a QB hit on 1 solo. Would I like to see him get home, but 49ers aren't exactly a great matchup for giving up sacks. So Dalvin Tomlinson, 2 points, 60%. Jordan Elliott, 2 points, 44%. Both D tackles right there. Anthony Walker. So this is why I'm saying keep your eye on Sione Takitaki. Anthony Walker, just 2 points on just 37% of snaps. So it was JOK at 79%. And then my guy, Takitaki, at 63%, taking all the linebacker snaps. So the Anthony Walker experience might be coming to an end here. Alex Wright, the defensive end, 2 points on 24%. Denzel Ward, the corner, did play 92% of snaps, but just 1 point. So that maybe that shutdown corner, Brandon Ayuk didn't do a whole lot until the end of the game. So Zadarius Smith, just 1 point on 68% of snaps. So I've been on record saying I prefer double O, Ogbania Okonkwo to Zadarius Smith. I feel like Smith is kind of washed this year. He's still technically playing more snaps, but he's giving us nothing in production. So where do you want to start on the Browns? I think there's a lot here.
Oh, man. Zadarius Smith has been my biggest bust all season. I had him in so many places because I expected, Myles Garrett's on this side, Zadarius Smith, boom, these guys are going to eat. Nothing. He has done nothing.
So frustrating.
I don't even know if he has 3 tackles on this. Like, he is such a disappointment. Anthony Walker is in concussion protocol, so I think his low percentage it has to do with that. That being said, I have sworn off all Cleveland Browns linebackers this year. Like, all right, nobody's playing enough consistently and producing enough each week for me to trust any of them. That being said, if you're in a deep enough league, JOK seems to be the one I would take the biggest shot on. Until somebody else can just produce on a consistent basis. It's odd for one of them to have more than 70% of snaps, if I'm not mistaken. So it's such a mess there to try to figure out. Delpit, he's been struggling this year. We're not getting big numbers out of him like we thought we would either. So very strange the way this defense is getting their points.
Yes, it's lumpy and it's all over the place. It's like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Can you really trust anybody outside of Myles Garrett?
Right. No. Oh, absolutely not. No, everyone else is a complete Hail Mary play. So
Right. It's so I don't even know if it's matchup dependent because I don't feel like they hit home on the good matchups like they should.
right.
And on the
It's
bad
just
matchups,
completely
they might
random.
overperform. It's so crazy. If it's not Myles Garrett, I don't think I want him.
I mean, we were saying Delpit for the longest time, but you're right. His
Right.
production is kind of
It's just not there.
yeah,
And I
it's
don't
kind
know
of
why.
falling off.
Because we're seeing this week we've seen all three safeties on the field. Where Juan Thorho missed the first game? I think just the first one. And McLeod took over for him.
Right.
Yeah, this week we got all three of them, and it's still just not a lot of points.
So yeah, Delpit's basically given us, 2 good games, 1 mediocre game this week, and 3, I would say, duds. So he's basically 3-3 on the year, which is not, that's tough if you're rolling him out, as a weekly guy. He's definitely hurting you, just as much as he's sort of helping you. So yeah, this is rough. This is not great. Like I said, I'm a Taki fan. So if his snap share gets ramped up, and if Walker is going to miss time with the concussion, I'm keeping an eye. Like I said, yeah, you're totally right. I'm not trusting, but I'm keeping my eye because he can give you the bigger. I think he's more big play consistent than JOK. I just think he possesses those abilities more so than a JOK, who's basically a safety
defensive back.
At least from a size perspective. So
right.
Yeah, it's gross. This whole defense is gross. It's Garrett. It's maybe Delpit if you want to keep rolling the dice because he is seeing the snaps, and the linebackers, unless you're in super deep dynasty leagues, don't bother. So what we're saying is don't chase the production in like your redraft leagues.
Right. There's nobody here you want besides Garrett Delpit. That's it.
Exactly. Gross. All right, we'll see if we can get it any better with the Saints and the Texans. So for the Saints, we had Demario Davis at 21 points, 100%. Marshawn Lattimore, the corner, 16 points on 86%. Carl Granderson, 16 points, 79%. Gets home again for a sack and gave us 3 solos, 3 assists, 2 TFLs, and a QB hit. So chock full box score. Unfortunately, Cameron Jordan not seeing the same success. I think maybe age is finally getting him. Okay, Zach Bond, 16 points on just 33% of snaps on the back of an interception. Don't chase that. Pete Warner, 10 points on 97. Back to Pete Warner things, giving you 4 solos, 2 assists with nothing else. Again, it's not like Bond is overtaking him. He just happened to, be in the right place at the right time on his 21 of 63 snaps that were available. But Pete Warner, I say it every week. I'm just not a fan. He gives you tackles and nothing else, and that's like gross. I just if you have him in Dynasty, and you exactly. If you could find a Pete Warner fan in your Dynasty league, I would try to sell for something. I don't know.
Right.
Kalen Saunders, the defensive tackle, 8 points on 56%. Ante Taylor kind of back down to earth, just 7.5 points on 60% of snaps. Not sure what's going on there. Terrain Matthews, 7 points on 100%. Marcus May returns to 100%, but only 6 points. Nathan Shepard, the defensive tackle, 5 points on 60%. Isaac Yeadom, 5 points on just 6%. Gave us some special teams production in those points as well. Cam Jordan, 4 points on 87%. Yikes. 1 solo, 1 assist, 1 TFL. Not great. Jordan Howden, who had been filling in for Marcus May, 3 points on 13%. Paulson Adebo, 2.5 points on 94%. Would have liked to see more production there. And Brian Breesy, I put on here 0. This really stinks. 0 points. Played 46% of snaps. So he's going to be like he's going to be a boom bust guy, and he's impossible to trust with no production like this. He's sack or bust at this point, which kind of stinks because he's getting opportunities. But what else do you want to talk about for the Saints?
So I was talking about Zadarius Smith being on a lot of my teams. The other guy on a lot of my teams is Cameron Jordan, and
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think age has finally got him because he's got the playing time. Surely he's not being double teamed over Granderson right now with his production. So, and I hate to see him slow down. He's been such a solid, consistent stud forever. But I'm cutting bait with him in redrafts. It's time. I hate to see it go. Mario Davis, he done what you would expect. Handful of tackles. He has that sack.
Yeah,
Ability. That upside. So it's always nice when he hits home. A little surprised Lattimore got so many points. A lot of times they're trying to avoid him. So
yeah.
Yeah, Pete Warner, like I said, he's just a guy. He is nothing special. He's
Thank
not.
you.
I'm with you. I don't even think I have him. I can't think of a single league I have him in
because people were overdrafting him for some reason.
Exactly. And you can get Demario Davis like 8 rounds later. So yeah. Don't go chasing waterfalls, people.
Don't go chasing Werner Falls.
Yeah, Warner Falls. There you go. That's a good song. Get on that, Matt. Marcus May, his first game back, 100% of snaps, only 4 tackles. We expect that to kind of go up a little bit. So
I feel like neither of these safeties possess much of a ceiling anymore these days. Just for whatever reason in this defense, you don't see a lot of production coming from either of these guys much. Like,
I don't know if it's just low tackle opportunities. I don't. I know what you mean. It's kind of boomer bust with those guys, which is wild because at least one safety is usually that box guy up there getting something, and I don't know what to make of it. I really don't.
Yeah, it's weird. All right. Well, I just wanted to check there. Let's see. Free safety. Yeah, Matthew's still splitting his time between free safety and the box. So I guess Davis and Werner are just soaking it up, though.
Wow, that's
who knows?
Because he just doesn't get a lot of tackles. We expect him to be an interception or a bust.
Yeah,
I expect
playing all that time in the box, like.
Right. So what's he doing up there? Is he just watching?
Right. I don't get it. All right, we'll flick to Houston now. Houston's going to be fun. All right. Blake freaking Cashman, the linebacker, 31 points, 100% of snaps, of which there were 82 available. He goes for 9 solos, 6 assists, 2 TFLs, a QB hit, and 2 passes defended. We'll try to make heads or tails of that. Steven Nelson, the corner, 22 points on 100% on the back of an interception. Had some nice tackles too, 5 solo, 1 assist. Sheldon Rankins, the defensive tackle, 18 points on 59%. We called this out in the start sit that this was a nice matchup for DT. So he got home for a sack this week. So that interior line for New Orleans is not great. Jimmy Ward, the safety, 12 points on 100%. Jalen Petrie matches him with 12 points on 100%. So that dynamic duo is pretty solid going forward, I would say. Shaq Griffin, the corner, 12 points, 98%. Henry Tuotuo, the other linebacker, 11 points on 99%. Jonathan Greener, 10 points on 62%. On the back of a half sack and 3 QB hits. Will Anderson, another decent game without a sack, 9 points on 70%. 3 solos, 1 assist, 2 QB hits. So he's almost getting there. I think it's coming, the monster game. MJ Stewart, the backup safety, 6 points, 77%. Malik Collins, 6 points on 68%. So another DT with a decent enough game. Half sack for him as well. Jerry Hughes, the old man, the DN, 5 points, 43%. Christian Harris, the linebacker, 4 points on just 11% of snaps. So he is pretty much cuttable everywhere. Kurt Hinish, the D tackle, 3 points on 26%. And Khalil Davis, the other D tackle, 2 points on 44%. What are you doing with Cashman? Is he trustworthy? Like, what the hell?
So I've been looking into it because I thought, maybe he just has beat out Perryman, but it looks like they decided to just hold him out with the hand injury. So that gives me hope that Cashman will fade back into oblivion. But I mean, right now, if you can get him, or if he's still available and you need somebody, he's getting 100%. You just got to keep an eye on if Perryman will be back or not. And then this was 82 snaps, so that's a little higher than what we would normally see. But 15 tackles, it's a lot of tackles.
Yes. Yeah, you would have liked to see this production even out a little bit between him and 202 because they, basically played the same amount of snaps. So it looks like 202 just graded very poorly this game. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Cashman graded very well this game, so I think he was maybe just more efficient with his tackling. Let's see, misses. They didn't credit 202 with any misses, so I'm not sure why his run defense grade was putrid. His tackling was good. His pass rush was bad, and his coverage was like meh. But somehow he got an overall score that was really, really bad, basically last on the team. So I don't know what the hell to think with this linebacking core. At first it was, 2-2's the man, and now Cashman comes out of nowhere with a monster game. So I don't know what to I mean, I'm playing 2-2. He's still playing 99% snaps. And I think if Perryman's going to be out, you play Cashman as sort of this Hail Mary. I think you got to go pick him up, but he might only be serviceable for another week or so. So
what'll probably happen is Perryman will come back and they'll play Perryman and Cashman just to mess with us.
You're right. That would be typical. That would be about right. Yeah.
I'm curious what MJ Stewart's role was this week. If they were playing just that many 3 safeties, I don't see another cornerback on here, so I'm wondering if he was playing more of a corner slot role or something this week.
So he had 1 in the defensive line, 9 in the box, 38 at free safety, 15 in the slot. Versus Jimmy Ward Jimmy Ward played the slot this game, 70.
Oh,
so he was the slot guy. Interesting.
Okay.
Stewart all over the place, and Petrie was kind of like he played the most free safety snaps, so that kind of sucks.
So he was deep. Wow, that's really weird. I wonder, that's got to be due to injuries.
Yeah, I guess with Perryman, that's
Perryman
weird.
out.
Oh, I guess because Tavier Thomas didn't come back, and maybe they were expecting him to. He's their normal slot corner, so that must have been it. But it's weird that Ward got those snaps and not Stewart.
Right.
So that's something to monitor.
That's really interesting. More so in deep leagues. I'm just out here thinking out loud.
Absolutely.
Man, Toe is the only one I trust right now. Cashman, without knowing Perryman for sure in or out, if you wait too long, you're going to miss out on picking Cashman up.
Right.
Or if you jump too early, you could pick him up and then he'd be useless. So you're in a weird spot right now.
Yeah, it's goofy. I don't know. I mean, who do they got? Why is it just everyone on a bye next week? What the hell? There's NFL messed up.
We'll figure it out the week after.
Yeah. We'll pay attention to Perryman's health and then go from there.
That'll give him that extra time to maybe get over that broken hand. So I would expect Perryman to come back. Week 8?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I just don't know who's going to be with him.
So annoying when these Jags come out of nowhere.
Yeah. These coaches get
All
smart and
right.
start rearranging the whole defense.
I don't get it. All right. Now we go to Colts Jaguars. For the Colts, top scorer was Julius Brents, the corner, 25.5 points, 94%, got an interception along with solid tackles, 5 solos, 2 assists. Kenny Moore, so dominated by the corners this game, 16.5 points on 100%. Zaire Franklin, strong enough game, 14 points, 100%. Shaq Leonard shows some life with 13 points on 81%. That's nice to see him bouncing back there. Samson Ebukam gets home for a sack and 13 points on 55%. Forrest Buckner gets a sack and 10 points on 70%. Would have liked to see his tackles go a little bit more, just 1 solo, 2 assists, but saved his day with the sack. Julian Blackman, the safety, 9 points, 100% of snaps. Taekwon Lewis, the defensive end, 9 points, 28%. Taven Bryan, the defensive tackle, 6 points, 25%. EJ Speed, back to the backup duties, 5 points on 42%. Grover Stewart, the defensive tackle, still not giving us much after the Cinderella season last year. 4 points on 72%. The snaps are nice. He's just not giving us the production that we were used to last year. Eric Johnson, another defensive tackle, 3 points, 22%. Jalen Jones, a corner, 2.5 points, 75%. Kwity Paye, bad game, 2 points, 62%. And his partner, Deo Odeingbo, 2 points on just 52%. So it was Ebukam of the edge rushers that got home this week, along with Taekwon Lewis and DeForest Buckner there. So, my biggest thing is that I've been writing about Julius Brents almost every week, so trying to tell you guys to pick him up. Second round rookie, with the crappy depth chart that the Colts had at corner, he missed the first 2 weeks with injury. I was telling you since week 2 to go get this guy, so hope you listen. Beyond that, Franklin, 6 solos, 2 assists, nothing else this game. Usually he gives you something else in the splash play department, but hey, 8 tackles is nothing to scoff your nose at there. So how about Shaq Leonard? 81%.
Oh man,
we buying it?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
This is the most he's had since week 1, I think, and that was also against the Jaguars. So I assume this is more game script, based on the opponent here. I'm not falling for Leonard again. I'm not taking the bait. Franklin only had 8 tackles, so that's what we expect out of him. We expect 16, so solid game.
Floor game.
Yeah. That's a very nice floor. Kwity Paye, I've been seeing a lot on Twitter and whatnot that people are getting frustrated. They're ready to cut him. If you got a better option, go for it. But this guy's expected boom or bust. He either gets a sack or he doesn't.
Right.
And it's been Ebukam who's got 4 out of 6 games a sack. So he's been the more consistent of the two. And if you're in the right league and you want to cut a guy not performing, you better be getting a guy that is.
Right.
So you don't feel
exactly
for dropping him. You don't want to hate yourself.
He's still got name value, so you could potentially trade him though.
Yeah, definitely. And then Grover Stewart, he had a good 2-3 year run there. He started the season out decent. He's a tackle guy. He's not a sack guy.
Right.
But he has been low here lately. So I'm probably still holding on to him because if I have him, that means I'm in a deep league and I need him. Right. Where I'm starting 2 defensive tackles, and there's probably just not a lot of options out there.
Yeah, totally. All right. For the Jacksonville side, Foye Oluokun doing his thing, 30 points, 100% of snaps. Rayshon Jenkins, 21.4 on 100% on the back of an interception. Andre Sisco also with an interception, 20.1 points on 94%. Devin Lloyd comes back healthy, plays 97% of the snaps, 20 points. So Chad Muma, see you later. He's not even on here this week. I should have put him on for his snap count, but I don't think he played any actually. Darius Williams going strong, 18.5 points, played 100% of snaps, another interception, and Tyson Campbell probably going to be missing some time. So Darius Williams absolutely worth a pickup here going forward, especially if Tyson Campbell is going to miss time. Josh Allen, the defensive end, 17 points on 85%, gets home with a sack. Very nice. Then we have a big drop off. Trayvon Walker, 9 points on 81%, half of a sack there. Trey Herndon, 8.5 points, 51%. Clavon Chason, 8 points on 22%, gets home for a sack. Don't chase it. Monteric Brown, the corner, 7 points on 69%. Nice. Roy Robertson Harris, the defensive tackle, 6 points on 59%. Tyson Campbell, so 4.5 points on just 31%, was lost to injury. Adam Gotsis, the D tackle, 3 points, 44%. Dwayne Smoot, defensive tackle, 3 points, 41%. Someone I want to just call out really quick in DT required leagues. He had a really nice year. He had like 7 sacks last year or something. So he just got activated. He was on like PUP/IR. So look for his snap count to ramp up and could be someone to add in DT required leagues on good matchups. Jeremiah Ledbetter, another D tackle, 3 points, 32%. Angelo Blackson, another D tackle, 3 points, 29%. Foley Fatasaki, another defensive tackle, 2 points, 44%. And backup safety, Andrew Wingard, 2 points on 6%. So, what do you got for Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think you nailed the Dwayne Smoot call. He's somebody.
Yeah, he's good.
I'll be picking him up, especially with DT eligibility, because I think he was defensive end last year on MFL.
Okay. Oh, sure. Yeah, he probably was. Mm-hmm.
So, he's got good value, and him coming back, he didn't do a lot, but his first game back. So I'm expecting him to take off and have some good games. He's definitely someone I'm interested. Darius Williams, 3 straight games with interceptions. He's been on fire. I'm interested in streaming him. Tyson Campbell hurts. Short week. They're playing the Saints Thursday night. I don't expect him to play at all. And it was Monteric Brown that took his spot. So that could be somebody, if you want to stream, he may be in for a busy game against the Saints.
Yeah.
Man, everybody else did pretty much what I would expect them to. Trayvon Walker's getting close. He's just out of reach on some of these sacks, so I'm expecting him to start hitting home soon.
81% of snaps. I mean, nothing, that's very solid. So
yeah, he had a lot of pressures. I think him and Josh Allen are getting about the same. It's just Allen hit home for a whole sack. Walker's right there. He's just gotta finish, I guess.
Yeah, Walker actually had 5 pressures to Allen's 4. So
keep playing him if you can. I mean, he's close. He's gonna have a big game.
Yeah, totally agree. All right. Anything else?
I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Panthers, Dolphins. We had 67 snaps for the Panthers, dominated by the corners here in this one. Troy Hill, 26.6 points on just 27% of snaps. So he had a pick 6 there. Don't go chasing that. But CJ Henderson played 100% of snaps, 24.5 points, 9 tackles, 8 solo, 1 tackle for loss, and a pass defended. So a very solid game. probably to be expected against, being busy against the Dolphins. Frankie Louvu, the linebacker, 15 points, not bad, but just 76% of snaps. So don't like what's going on in Carolina, pretty much everywhere. Shai Tuttle, the defensive tackle, 12 points on 52%. Matthias Farley is a safety apparently now for Carolina. 11 points on 94%. We're going to talk about Jeremy Chin here at the very bottom. Also gave production on special teams. Very annoying. Dante Jackson, 10 points to corner on 94%. Camus Grugier-Hill, played more snaps this week, up to 58%. 9 points, solid, but still not enough to be, relevant yet. Sam Franklin, the safety who's been on fire, kind of back down to earth with 8 points on 99%. Deion Jones, they decided to play and activate. I don't know what was wrong with him the previous 2 weeks, but he was healthy scratch the previous 2 weeks, and now they decided to play him. 33% of snaps, 7 points. Brian Burns, another annoying game, 79% of snaps, just 6 points. 2 solos, TFL, and a QB hit, no sack, nothing else. Deshaun Williams, the defensive tackle, 3 points, 51%. Nick Thurman, defensive tackle, 3 points, 51%. Yetur Gross-Matos, another gross game, 3 points, 45%. Derek Brown turns in a stinker, 2 points on 70% on just 2 assists, nothing else. With the air attack of the Dolphins and the running game just getting through, Derek Brown, unfortunately, just an off game. DJ Johnson, the rookie edge rusher, defensive end, 2 points, 36%. Justin Houston, DN, 2 points, 27%. Amari Barno, the DN, 2 points, 18%. LeBrian Ray, the defensive tackle, 1 point on 51%. And here lies the ghost of Jeremy Chin, RIP, week 6, 2023, 0 points, 39% says. I mean, they have to be trading him, right? That's the only possible explanation for this usage and these snap counts and this production, right? They have to be working a trade.
I mean, you've lost Spawn Bell, you've lost Xavier Woods, you've lost Shaq Thompson. I mean, that's his expert. He can play any of those positions, and he's playing none of them. What is going on here, man? What is going on? I don't get it at all. I haven't heard any trades you're going on, so I'm blown away, man.
I mean, they better trade him. That if they don't, this is the only explanation, and this is why I see fantasy receipts poking fun at fantasy analysts who complain about usage or pretend basically giving us a hard time for being you think how to run an NFL team. Well, you know what? In instances like this, you're goddamn right. This is if they're not trading him, this is absolute gross misuse and misjudgment of a player's abilities and talents and usage. It makes no sense. So if they are not trading him, then everyone should clean house. They don't know what they're doing. They're never going to win with Bryce Young. They're never going to win with anybody on this defense. It is so frustrating and so annoying. So I hope he lands with the Eagles. That would be amazing. But if they don't end up trading him, then I just don't have any words more. I'm lost. I don't know what to do.
I mean, I don't get it, man. Troy Hills is a slot safety or a slot corner. So, I mean, that covers him to move him to one of these safety positions, put him in Shaq Thompson's spot. That's where I think he would thrive. He would just pop off. But they won't do it.
And we know that.
Yeah, they don't. We just don't know how to tell them.
They signed 31-year-old Matthias Farley off the street and send him back down to the practice squad today, an hour ago. There's a note. Farley reverts to practice squad. What are we doing? I mean, but you can't play Chin. You got to drop him. And Dynasty, unless you're banking, if it's past the trade deadline, you either cut or trade Chin in your deepest dynasty league for a last round rookie pick. I'm done. Even if he bounces back, I don't care. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I get it. This is it's wild.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like I said, I mean, we pretty much named where he could be up in the linebacker spot, back at
Yeah.
one of the safety spots, and use this guy who we've seen for the last several years can just pop off, rack up
Mhm.
tackles, make some big plays, and turn your defense around.
He's good at football.
Yeah, he.
We know that. Well, the coaches know that.
I
Like,
don't know what he did. I want to know what he did to the coaches. He had to
yeah,
insult somebody, right? Like, it feels like he's being held hostage here.
he's probably
And,
pissed at his usage, and rightfully so.
yeah,
He's
we
a
all
second
are.
round pick. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
he's not. Maybe he's not AJ Brown. Where on the offense, squeaky wheel gets the oil, but he's a second round freaking pick. Like, he's got to have some clout.
yeah. You would think he
So,
would have been one of the big selling points as a coach to take over. Be like, hey, we got this guy
yeah.
Chin that can play damn near any spot on the field. You know,
Hmm.
that's the guy I want. That's my Swiss Army knife. I'm going to blitz him. I'm going to drop him back. I'm going to put him everywhere. And for whatever reason, they have just stuck him in the slot and let him die on 39% of the snaps. Oh,
The linebacker situation is a mess. You have your top linebacker only playing 76% of
well,
the snaps against
he
Miami.
got
Like,
injured
oh well, there you go. Jesus
in
Christ.
it was in the fourth quarter, so I don't know what happened. I just know he left early in the fourth. So too bad you don't have a safety or somebody that could take his spot. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, oh my God. Jeremy Chin is Josh Metellus on steroids, and he
Mhm.
should be getting used the way Josh Metellus is getting used
Yeah.
in Minnesota, and he's not. And that is a big, big problem, not only for real football. Yes, some of us, are decent at understanding real football, along with IDP fantasy football. So,
Yeah. As bad as this defense is, and the uses that Jeremy Chin could be, being used at, he should be getting double digit tackles every week. They're
I mean,
that bad for him.
now I'm kind of flipping to wanting to buy him low. As much as I just said sell him, now I kind of want to go buy him low because it has to get better at some point, whether it's on a new team or they, stop being stubborn on the coaching staff. Like, it has to get better. So now I might be a low buyer but I already have sold most of it. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
you just
This
went
is
through
just,
all the stages of grief.
yeah, that's how I usually roll.
Yeah, we watched that in real time, everyone.
Oh, God damn it.
This is just an ugly
Anything else
defense.
on this team? Like, yeah, this is great. Matthias Fairley, you 94% now
Don't
back down on
chase
the
it.
practice squad. So you can't really trust that. Maybe one of Bell or Woods is going to get healthy and come back. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe
They're on a
that's what that
bye.
means.
They're on a bye.
Why is everyone on bye this week?
Yeah, maybe Bell and Woods come out on the other end of this, and then Chin
Holy
can go back up
smokes.
to like 43% snaps.
Yeah. I got to go to Miami before I lose my mind. All right. For Miami, we didn't have a lot to go around here. I don't see anybody that played 100% snaps. So the most snaps anyone played was 65, which is about average, but it was kind of top heavy. So Christian Wilkins, the D tackle, finally has a nice game with 2 sacks and 20 points on 71%. You kind of he's another one that's forcing you to start him every week with that usage and with the ceiling there. Kader Kohu, the cornerback, is a solid weekly play at corner leagues, 16 points, 94%. David Long, 16 points on 74%, but with the blowout, they're going to be, him and Baker are going to flip flop. I feel like with the way these games are going for the Dolphins. Bradley Chubb, 16 points, 71%. Eli Apple is apparently a starter again now, 14.5 points on 94%. So might be usable here. Xavier Howard, 11 points on 81%. Jerome Baker, 9 points, 68%. Zach Sealer back down to earth, but solid enough for a DT. 9 points on 67%. Did get a sack, but only one solo, one assist, one TFL, and one QB hit to go along with that. Deshaun Elliott, kind of a stinker, 8 points on 94%. Perry Nickerson, a backup corner, 7.5 points on just 29%. Andrew Van Ginkel, just 6 points on 61%. We did have Jalen Phillips play, although we'll get to him. He turned in a stinker, so tough for Van Ginkel to do what he has been doing. Javon Holland, the stinker, 5 points on 94%. We expect him to rebound nicely. Raekwon Davis, defensive tackle, 3 points, 41%. Duke Riley, backup linebacker, 3 points, 32%. Cam Smith, backup corner, 2.5 points, just 6%. Jalen Phillips, only 2 points, which was 1 assist and 1 QB hit on 43% of snaps. So ramping him back up slowly, it looks like. Emmanuel Agba, the DT, 2 points on 32%. Brandon Jones, 2 points, only 6% of snaps. All his production came on special teams, which is 1 solo. Deshaun Hand, the defensive tackle, 1.29%. Elijah Campbell, the corner, 1 point on 6%. So who do you want to talk about here?
So yeah, big game for Wilkins. Good to see him get back in the sack column there. Yeah. I think if he had a big brand new contract, he would be racking up more sacks. I do think that's been weighing on him. Kader Kohu, he's somebody I was big on to begin the season with. He had some good down stuff. Games, but yeah. I thought I seen where he got switched inside to the slot role, where they had been playing him outside early in the season. So if that's the case, then they were just playing him out of position, it sounds like. Yeah, I don't know how true that was. I didn't research it very
in quickly. Previous games or in this game?
In previous games, they were saying he was playing outside more.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, because this game he got the majority of his snaps at slot. 49
so last week, supposedly they kicked him back inside to the slot, which is I think is where he did so well last year.
Okay. So yes,
we're seeing his production kick up again. Yep. Right. So
good.
Yeah, so he was a good buy low there for a minute if he's still out there. David Long, I'm not real worried about.
Are you Long or Team Baker?
I'm Long. Baker,
me too.
I feel he's kind of like the DeMario Davis. If he's not getting you a sack, he's not really doing much for you.
Exactly.
And the whole Van Ginkel and Jalen Phillips thing is driving me batshit crazy because when Van Ginkel plays for Phillips, he gets a sack. Mm-hmm. When Phillips is in the game, he doesn't. Like, why can't you do that?
Whether Phillips does something or not.
Right. This Phillips thing this injury has drug out pretty long now. And I know a lot of people are getting frustrated. I know in redrafts, I've been asked, should you drop him? And the answer is yes. If you have a better option, yes. Dynasty, no. You're not going to drop him. You shouldn't drop him. Nothing else really stands out to me. They're playing the Panthers, who obviously don't know what they're doing. We went over that, so I would expect some weird numbers on a few of these.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, Phillips definitely holding dynasty. Just you hope to see him ramp up a little stronger. Yeah, kind of just is what it is. All right, we'll flick to the next game. Patriots and Raiders. So Patriots, we had 22 points on 76% of snaps for Jelani Tavai, the linebacker, not Juwan Bentley. So Tavai gets home, gets an interception, carrying his score this year. So not something I'm chasing or a guy I'm super excited about. But hey, he had a nice game this one. Jabril Peppers, who has cornerback eligibility on certain platforms, so that's a cheat code. 18 points on 93%, 7 solos, 2 pass defended. So very nice game for him. He's still been a little up and down, but hey, if you can start him as a corner, I'm taking that risk almost every week, considering he is a safety.
Absolutely.
Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle, 14 points, 71%, and does it without a sack. So nice to see him chipping in, because usually he's at the bottom of this list when he doesn't have a sack. So that, maybe he's finally gonna morph into what a lot of analysts have expected him to become this year. So Jonathan Jones, the corner, 12.5 points, 79%. Anthony Jennings appears to be what I thought Josh Uche was going to be with Matt Judon going down. So no sack for Jennings, but 12 points, played 81% of the snaps, 5 solos, 1 assist, and 1 TFL. So that's a guy. He's probably worth a pickup in your deeper leagues that do reward sacks appropriately at 6 points or more, I would say. I'm interested. I'm interested in Jennings for sure. Juwan Bentley, of course, played 100% of snaps, but only 9 points this week. JC Jackson, the corner, comes back to New England for his second game, 7 points, played 96% of snaps, so could be an attractive corner option going forward. Kyle Duggar, the safety, just 7 points on 91%. We expect more from him. He's been pretty frustrating this year as well. I think he's only had like 2 good games. Lawrence Guy, the D tackle, 7 points, 64%. Devon Godchow, the other defensive tackle, 4 points, 70%. Dietrich Wise, the defensive end, 3 points, 56%. Mac Wilson, the linebacker, backup linebacker, 3 points, 33%. Adrian Phillips, the backup safety, 3 points on 17%. Miles Bryant, who had a monster game last week, back down to earth at 2.5 points, 63% this week. Shawn Wade, a backup corner, 2.5 points on 14%. Keon White, the promising rookie, but just 2 points on just 11% of snaps. So that's really disappointing to see the fall off the cliff of snaps there, especially with no Matt Judon. Jalen Mills, backup corner, 1.29%. Here's my guy. Now, he did get injured, but I think it was kind of trending to lose his job anyway. 0 points, just 27% of snaps. I'm actually kind of glad he's injured. Let's just clear this up. Now it's Anthony Jennings' jobs to lose. So whatever. That really annoys me because I was a big Uchi guy. Sam Roberts, the D tackle, 0 on 24%. And I kept Marty Mapu on here. A lot of Marty Mapu guys, 0 points, 0 defensive snaps, only played on special teams. So wherever you want to head here with the Patriots.
Yeah, so before this past week, I picked up Anthony Jennings in at least 2 leagues, and they were deeper leagues. Because I had Judon everywhere, and I lost him. But I was looking at stat counts on IDP guys last week.
Hell yeah.
And I've seen he got like 60-some%. And he had just a few tackles, but I liked seeing his usage and that, it was he was kind of taking over that role. So I went ahead and picked him up, and I actually ended up starting him this past week, and he for sure won me 1 game. So because he had defensive end eligibility. So that's the big key. If he was in a linebacker spot, I'm probably not going to be able to use him. But yeah, having that defensive end, edge rusher eligibility, that boosts him quite a bit, and I am very interested in him. I don't trust Barr.
Yeah, he is a defensive end. So I'm looking at his alignments. 53 snaps of 57 on the defensive line, then 3 in the box, 1 in the slot. So yes, he is Matt Judon now. So he's, I think, the biggest name to be concerned about here, and is for sure worth a pickup. Like we said, in leagues where He's playable as a defensive lineman or an end, and where you reward sacks appropriately with your points. Because this is probably a ceiling game from him tackle wise. You're not going to see 6 total tackles from him probably too often, but the sack upside is also there, and that's what you're banking on with him. So,
and Judon was the same way. You weren't going to get a whole lot of tackles, but you were going to get between 1 and 3 sacks. So that's the production we could maybe get from this guy, and he's one of the few I'm willing to trust. You can't trust Duggar, you can't trust Tavai, Barmore. I mean, you really can't trust a lot on this defense. Bentley is
even
solid
Bentley, he plays 100% of snaps, but his production sucks sometimes.
Right. Peppers is somebody I'm definitely picking up and playing with the right matchups, but he has been on a bit of a roller coaster as well. So it's ugly, but I think Jennings and Peppers are definitely the guys I want to invest in here.
Absolutely. All right, for the Raiders, not a lot of points to go around. 60 snaps, so that's below the average. Trayvon Merrick, the safety, having a really nice year, and is the guy over Marcus Epps. They both play 100% of snaps, but Merrick has been turning in all of the production. So if you haven't figured out by now, you haven't been listening to us long enough, because he's the safety you want from this defense. So 16.2 points on 100% of snaps, did get an interception. So without it, not a great line, but hey, he gave you the interception and is playing the snap. So Crosby does his thing, 16 points, 100% of snaps, even with just a half sack. But man, a defensive end playing 100% of snaps is just a freaking monster freak of nature. He's probably my favorite non-Eagle IDP player, especially if you're not aware of his backstory. He's a recovering addict, and it's just so cool. I'm rooting for this guy. He's awesome. Yeah, he's so cool. I mean, and defensive ends just don't play the amount of plays that he plays.
They're a different animal to begin with.
Yeah. He was questionable leading up to this game, I think, or was last week. Still plays through injury. It's insane. So he's definitely a top 3 D lineman in Dynasty for sure. Behind him, Amik Robertson, the corner, 16 points on 65% of snaps, kind of steals a sack this game. Tyler Hall, another corner, 13.5 points, 77%. John Jenkins, the defensive tackle. We talked about him. Lower snap count this week, 47%, but got home for a sack. We had touted him. He's playing a good amount as far as the defensive tackle. So if you need a Hail Mary in your DT required leagues, he's someone to look at. Spillane, gives you a floor game, 10 points, 100% of snaps after the monster 2 interception game last week. Adam Butler, defensive end / tackle, 10 points, 47%. Divine Diablo, 9 points on 92%. Only 2 solos, 5 assists. We'd like to see that flip flop a little bit. Bilal Nichols, the DT, 9 points, 58%. Ja'Cory Bennett, 7.5 points, 48%. The corner. Tyree Wilson, the rookie defensive end, shows up for the first time in a couple weeks. 4 points on 37%. Marcus Peters, the corner, plays 100% of snaps, but only 3 points on 3 assists. Luke Masterson, the backup linebacker, 3 points on 8%. Marcus Epps, the other safety, plays 100% of snaps, just 2 points. He's not worth anything right now. Isaac Rochelle, the defensive end, 2 points on 27%, aka Mr. Cooch. And Byron Young, the other Byron Young, the defensive tackle, 2 points on 22%. So outside of Crosby and the linebackers and Merrick, there's never much to talk about the Raiders. So unless there's anybody you want to touch on, go ahead.
Nah, just Marcus Epps has been such a disappointment.
Yeah, knowing that he's playing all these snaps and just giving you no production.
100%, 60, yeah, and then 2 little assisted tackles. That's
Well,
such a
Shawn,
bummer.
I've got news for you. He's just not very good. He,
I
you
don't
know,
need him to be
as a
good.
former Eagle, yeah, he
Yeah.
gave you some flashes for IDP production, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's just not good.
I wasn't expecting him to be good. I just expected him to give me fantasy points.
I hear you. And when you're playing
But yeah,
100% snaps, it's pretty incredible that he's not giving us any
yeah,
production on those snaps.
you'd think he'd eventually run into somebody, right?
Uh-huh.
Or they'd run into him. Like it's got to happen.
Yikes.
But yeah, just a tough matchup for Spillane and Diablo this week. We wasn't expecting a whole lot here, so that's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Mad Max, you're yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah,
We're
you're rolling
starting.
out Crosby, you're rolling out Spillane, you're kind of rolling out Diablo pretty easily. And then, like I said, yeah, Merrick, he's gonna have, like I said, without the pick here, yeah, not a great game, but he's given us these splash plays this year. So he's putting himself in the position to give us the splash plays. So ride the wave, you know.
Yeah,
So
after
yeah,
he did nothing all last year. Like he was the
exactly. He
Marcus
was
Epps
the
last year. Yeah.
right. Fair. But hey, Merrick's a former, I think maybe first or definitely second rounder if he's not a first rounder. Epps is like a UDFA or late round guy. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know the
Whatever.
talent was always there for Merrick. Maybe usage and coaching in the past, not
Like
exactly
I think
talent.
last year he played like 1,100 snaps and barely did
Yeah.
anything. Like it was such a crazy stat. But he's out
Yeah.
there, and he's running into people. So
Exactly. We'll take it.
yeah,
Take it while you got
yeah.
it. All right, Cardinals Rams. My guy Kaiser White, another great performance, 19 points, 100% of snaps, gets home for a sack to add to that. Marco Wilson, the corner, we've been talking about him, 12 and a half points, 100%. Now there was only 57 snaps, so we have a pretty steep drop off here. Josh Woods regains his LB2 role on the Cardinals as the LB2, I should say. 10 points, 60% of snaps. So, you know, flyer, super deep guy in really deep leagues, starting 11 or more IDPs. Okay, Andre Charchere is a cheat code on MFL. So he is a corner on MFL. He is basically a safety for, you know, Jalen Thompson being out, Buda Baker being out. So there's a cheat code if you need one. 9.5 points, okay, on 100% of snaps. But hey, if you need a cheat code in your really deep dynasty leagues, he could be someone that you can plug in your CB required leagues, getting snaps as a safety. So keep that in mind, Andre Charchere. Antonio Hamilton, the other corner, 9.5 points, 79%. Victor Dimukeji, the DN, 9 points on 32%. Happened to get home for a sack this week. The message is none of these Arizona defensive linemen can be trusted. That includes Dennis the Barbarian Gardeck. Yeah, you know, you're wasting your time trying to chase who it's going to be that gets home for a sack each week. So Kevin Strong does it this week as a defensive tackle, 8 points, 49% on the back of a sack. Kytrell Clark, the promising rookie corner who's been losing snap shares recently, just 7.5 points on 56%. Kind of sucks to see him going in the wrong direction. Kevon Wallace, after a monster game, you know, comes crashing back down to earth, just 6 points, but still playing 100% of snaps. Again, with only 57 to go around, you know, bad game script for them. You kind of just got to roll with the punches. I'm still starting him most weeks. Jonathan Ledbetter on the DN, 6.61%. Dennis Gardeck, just 5 points on just 46% of snaps. Dante Stills, a defensive tackle, 4 points, 47%. Roy Lopez, defensive tackle, 4 points, 33%. Lakey Fotu, defensive tackle, 3 points, 35%. Zaven Collins, the D end, 2 points on 65%, just one solo. Yuck. Cameron Thomas, 2 points, 44%. And BJ Ojolari got a slight uptick in snaps this week, up to 32%, but just 2 points still. So not really not really worth paying much attention to. So I'll go to Zaven Collins. I mean, he stinks, right? Like he's basically sack or bust, and this week he was a bust. I'm not holding the bag if I don't have to.
No, he's been cuttable a while back. So
Yep.
there's nothing to hold on to. They have such a heavy rotation. I mean, you look, there's 10 defensive linemen here that are playing like 30 to 40% of the game here. It's such a rotation.
Yeah,
it's worse than what the Eagles were doing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's White and Wallace have been the only two I've really been wanting from this team for a while now. I did like the matchup for Wilson and Hamilton against the Rams. Not bad.
Yeah.
But again, low snaps. Then the impending return of Budda Baker. What does that do for you?
Right. Yeah. Who's he going to displace? Is it going to be Wallace, or is it going to be the guy, you know, a Charchere and possibly a Thompson if he ever comes back? So is Budda actually due back anytime soon, or are they keeping him?
I heard week 7 was the earliest is what I heard.
Right.
Which is,
I mean, I'm not playing him because he was kind of bad.
Well, all right. So that first game, it was Baker, Thompson, and Wallace. All three were playing that game. So I'm wondering if Wallace is safe no matter what. As you know, he's more of that linebacker than say Woods is.
Right.
You know, like kind of like that role. I think Wallace is safe. It's Charchere who will be the first to go, I think.
For sure. Yeah. So, yep, totally agree. Anyone else?
No, that's it. There's nothing else to trust there.
Exactly. All right, for the Rams side, Byron Young was a nice hit for me this week in my start sits. 18 points on 86%. So he gets home with a sack, 2 QB hits, forced a fumble, which your forced fumble should always be worth more than your fumble recoveries. It's a lot harder to force a fumble than fall on a bouncing around ball. Just FYI. 3 assists, 3 solos. So really nice all-around game from Byron Young. Really excited for him, especially in Dynasty going forward. So happy to see a nice game here. Behind him, Ernest Jones, 17 points on 78% of snaps. Jones was questionable coming into this game, so I think they kind of took it easy with him. May have even missed a handful of snaps due to the lingering injury. So hopefully he's okay going forward here. But yeah, so that's the reasoning behind his 78%. But hey, he still gave you 10 tackles, 7 solos. So, you know, I'm not going to turn my nose up at that. Behind him, Christian Roseboom chipped in backup duties, 15 points on 54%. Got an interception, so that probably should have been Jones's, but that's okay. We'll let it go. So yeah, that scored primarily on the back of the interception. Jonah Williams, a defensive tackle, 15 points on 45% on the back of a sack. He's been popping up here and there as, you know, playing next to Aaron Donald. But still 45%, can't really trust that. Akilla Weatherspoon, the corner, 13.5 points, 89%. Aaron Donald does chip in 13 points on 80% without a sack. So nice to have that production there without a sack. Kobe Durant, the corner, 12 points on 87%. Jordan Fuller, decent enough game, 9 points on 100%. 5 tackles with nothing else, 4 solos. So you would have liked to see some splash plays, but hey, 100% of snaps and 5 tackles is a nice little floor for your safety. Kobe Turner, the D tackle, 9 points, 74%. Quentin Lake, the backup safety, 9 points, 36%. Michael Hecht, the defensive end, 7 points on 71%. Duke Shelley, the corner, 6 points, 11%. Russ Yeast, the safety who does play 100%, but only 5 points this game. Darion Kendrick, 5 points, 89%. Travius Tomlinson, corner, 5 points on 11%, gave special teams production. Zach Van Valkenburg does not steal a sack this week, 4 points on just 20%. We told you not to chase him. Marquise Copeland, the defensive tackle, 2 points, 14%. Jake Hummel, 2 points, 12%. And O'Shawn Mathis, the DN, 1 point, 24%. Who you got for the Rams?
Yeah, obviously Ernest Jones is the stud here. Byron Young, I mean, he had a good start to the season where he was getting half sack, half sack. Went a little dry the last few weeks and back on track. So he's a rookie. It happens. It happens to the veterans. I mean, you can't ask for better production than what we've gotten out of Young. So he's been sneakily one of the best rookies out there.
Yeah, and those snap shares have remained high.
Yes.
Even when he's kind of disappeared in production, the snaps are still in that 70 to 80+% range, which is great for a rookie D lineman.
Right. He's getting the numbers I was expecting Michael Hoyt to get. So that's I've been really impressed with it. I really have been. And down a little bit on Hoyt with his lack of production. But he's turned out a good game or two, but he's been more missed than hit. With you with Fuller, should have had more, I think, especially with Ernest Jones being a little banged up. That could be where Quentin Lake came in and took over some of that. I don't know.
He fell on a loose fumble. Lake stole it from Fuller or Yeast or Jones. So annoying.
That's another guy who's been really disappointing on a team that doesn't really have anybody outside of Ernest Jones to eat up all these tackles. You would think the safeties would be eating up more, but I don't know why it hasn't happened. Like I don't know where all these tackles are going. It's Ernest Jones gets the ball, and there's only a little bit for the safeties, which is just kind of wild. Yeah, Aaron Donald, he's not the juggernaut he used to be. It's good to see him still producing without the sacks. He's still getting back there to the quarterback. And there's a lot of quarterback hits this week, so he's not a must start, but he's probably still a starter every week.
For sure. In shower leagues, I think he can be classified as more of a streamer, but
absolutely,
it's tough. Most people that have him took him on the name value, and until he has a bye week or gets injured, they're not going to not start him. So I get it, but hey, if it's me playing in that shower league, I'm treating him as more of a streamer.
Exactly.
All right, we'll move on to Eagles Jets. Don't get me started on the game. Let's stick to fantasy. Don't go on a tangent. How crazy that was. Very nice to see Hassan Reddick back up top. Oh, God. So, yes, I'll stick with the positive, which was Hassan Reddick. 24 points, 72%. 2.5 sacks. 4 solos, 1 assist, 2 TFLs, 3 QB hits. So that cast coming off was really the skeleton key to unlocking him. I don't know why it was such a hindrance, but apparently it was. So Hassan Reddick is all the way back. Great to see that. Behind him, James Bradbury, the corner, played 100% of snaps, 16 points. Josh Sweat, 75% of snaps, 13 points on the back of a sack. Reed Blankenship, 12 points, just 65% of snaps. Josh Jobe, the corner, playing in relief of Darius Slay, 11 points, 82%. Milton Williams, playing in relief of Jalen Carter, had 10 points and 63%. Carter, kind of a surprise inactive. I was annoyed when I heard that news.
Right.
And with all that, so the linebackers really confused me in this one. So Nicholas Morrow, 9 points on 55%. Nakobe Dean returns 7 points on just 49% of snaps. Terrell Edmonds, after I had been bashing him, he's the backup. I guess Justin Evans was injured. I don't know what the heck happened there. But Terrell Edmonds back to 100% of snaps after 0 and only 6 points. Zach Cunningham, for some reason, played the most linebacker snaps at 75% and gave you the least amount of production with 6 points. So really annoying situation going on there. Hopefully Dean just ramps up with his health and fully takes over, because this is gross if this is how it's going to be. Jordan Davis, the D tackle, 6 points, 68%, like decent enough game for him with a half sack. Brandon Graham, the DN, 5 points, 29%, also a half sack. Bradley Roby, 2.5 points, the corner on 46%. Fletcher Cox in comes back healthy, plays the most snaps of the DTs at 78%, but also the lowest production at just 2 points. Kentavious Street, backup DT, 2 points on 35%. Derek Barnett shows up on the stat sheet. I wish we would just cut him. 1 point on 20%. And Eli Ricks, backup corner, 1 point, 18%. So, yeah, these linebackers are annoying. Like I said, I'm going to hope Nakobe Dean gets healthy and ramps up those snaps. But until we see it, you kind of just have to keep him on the bench, right?
Yeah, I really don't know why they just wouldn't go ahead and give it to him all this week. If he's healthy enough to play, then play the whole game.
Very
it's
annoying.
wild that Cunningham was the guy to get all the snaps there.
Yeah,
He's just a thumper right now. I mean, that's all he ever was. He was never good in coverage. So why would you not have Dean running around out there more of? That's what should have happened. I think Jalen Carter not being there hurt this team more than anything.
for sure.
But Reddick, yeah, good seeing him pop off after getting that cast off, which is wild that was what was holding him back.
Yeah.
Yep. Blankenship, he's been great. Not big numbers, but he's even against bad matchups. This guy's producing, and I'm really big on him right now.
So he did leave in the third quarter with rib injury. That's why his snap share went down this week. So now apparently the X-rays came back negative for Blankenship. Okay. Yeah. So hopefully he shakes it off.
And Justin Evans was injured, so I don't know what the injury is.
He played 100% of the snaps last week. So what the hell's wrong with him?
I don't know, man. Maybe they thought this was going to be a cakewalk game and got hit in the mouth.
They placed him on IR.
Oh, is he?
What the?
I didn't see that.
With a neck issue. But he literally, I think, played 100% of snaps last week. So I guess fire Terrell Edmonds back up.
Words that should never be said.
I know. It's gross.
Yeah. Reddick's the guy you want, and Blankenship if he's healthy enough to play. If you lose Blankenship too, then what? Who's that?
Hopefully Sidney Brown is healthy enough to come back, because he's missed the past couple of weeks injured, but hasn't made it to IR, so maybe he's ramping up his health. It would be Sidney Brown or someone off the street.
Well, this secondary is really getting hit hard.
Yeah,
really
great.
Bad. Yeah, keep an eye on the secondary. We might have some good streamers coming up.
Yeah, agreed. You're benching the linebackers until we get some clarity.
Yeah, I'm staying away from that until Dean takes all the way back over.
Yeah. All right, flicking to the Jets. Quincy Williams just having a monster, it's kind of second breakout season. 27 points, 97% of snaps, fills the stat sheet, a fumble recovery, pass defended, TFL, 3 assists, 9 solos. So crushing it. Tony Adams is the safety. We thought maybe he lost his job to Adrian Amos, but Amos is playing 0 defensive snaps while Adams is back healthy again. So Adams and Whitehead are your guys back there. So Adams, 25.5 points on 100% of snaps, had an interception. Very nice game for him. CJ Mosley, 22 points, 100%, doing CJ Mosley things. Bryce Hall was a nice streamer this week with no Sauce Gardner and no DJ Reed. So we, in our Discord chat that is only available to subscribers, we helped some people out with suggesting Bryce Hall as a streamer. If you want great access on game day, sign up, IDP +sign pod 10% off. Come join us for the rest of the year. Bryce Hoff, the defensive end, 14 points, 50% of snaps. Michael Carter, the other corner, 12.5 on 77%. Quentin Williams, okay game, 11.7 on 73%. He did have an interception, which is kind of odd by him. So saved his day with that interception, actually. Jordan Whitehead, decent game, 10 points, 100% of snaps, saved by a couple of defended passes. So hopefully your league scores appropriately for them, because otherwise it was 3 solos, which not great. Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher, 10 points on 71%, had 3 defended passes to go along with his 2 solos. Craig James, a backup corner, 5 points, 59%. Tay Hayes, a backup corner, 5 points on 19%. Jamie Sherwood, backup linebacker, 5.7%, gave some special teams stats as well. John Franklin Myers, the DN, 4 points, 61%. Quentin Jefferson, 4 points on 39% for the defensive tackle. Ashton Davis is now kind of the third safety, 3 points on just 40% of snaps. So, if Adams or Whitehead goes down, it looks like Davis might be the next guy up. Solomon Thomas, the D tackle, 2 points, 26%. Anything noteworthy for the Jets here?
I would expect those top 3 to be those top 3. Jordan Whitehead, man, he had 3 interceptions that first game, and he had 1 big tackle game, and he has done nothing since. And I feel like every time I see him on the TV, he is missing a tackle. Like,
oh boy,
I don't know what his actual missed tackle numbers are, but I imagine it's a lot, because this dude whiffs on so many. It is unreal. He doesn't wrap up. I mean, he's just throwing his shoulder and just diving out the way is what it looks like. So he's been disappointing, and I would cut him just out of spite if I if I still had him on my team. Quentin Williams, I mean, that interception saved him this week. He's not been hitting home like we expected, so it's a little concerning. But this defense has been lights out as an NFL unit.
They held the only other undefeated team to just 14 points. So pretty damn impressive.
Well, when you lose an offensive lineman or 2, it's kind of hard to put up a decent fight. So, if Bryce Hall could be, well, no, they're on a bye this week, so never mind. I was going to say, yeah, I think we finally hit them all.
Yeah, I think this is By-Mageddon this week.
I was going to say he was worth streaming again, but probably not.
Yeah, the other guys might be healthy after the bye, so we'll see. But yeah, Quentin Williams kind of starting to scare me with the production. He's saving himself with an interception and a sack, but like everything, the tackles aren't there.
I mean, he was being drafted as one of the top defensive tackles. He was top 3 guy in just about every draft. You are not getting top 3 production out of this guy, even against good matchups. So I don't want to tell you to cut a guy with that potential, but if it's redraft,
right,
and you're not getting points, if there's a guy that is, then I would do it.
Yeah, especially if you're just starting like one defensive tackle, like give me like a Javon Hargrave with the tackle for and the sack upside right now.
Right.
He's keeping his head above water production wise, but
it's not by a lot.
As soon as he misses on a huge turnover or sack, he could literally cost you a week. So
right. Yeah, shallow leagues
Anyone
treat him
else?
like we would Aaron Donald and stream him if you got to. No, everything else is just kind of outliers, I think. Bryce Huff has games like this every so often. I'm not going to chase that. Yeah, exactly.
Next week it'll be Franklin Myers, and the next week it'll be Quentin Jefferson. Like it'll be a new guy each week.
Yeah. And then we'll get the rookie in there one week.
Yeah. Oh God, my guy Will McDonald is just crushing me.
don't know
he's
why
just not
he's not
playing.
getting any time. I don't know
It's
why.
crazy.
He looks so good out there. I know it was preseason and all that, but he looked like a monster.
I agree. I don't get it. I maybe they're just preserving him. Maybe they'll unleash him during the playoffs if they can make it. Like I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, it's another one where the coaching's killing us.
Right.
Still a guy I'm holding on to dearly in Dynasty. So don't get too discouraged in Dynasty.
Yeah. Dynasty is a whole other monster. I'm talking mostly from redraft perspectives. When I'm talking about cutting a guy or dropping a guy, trading whatever. Don't take any of that to the Dynasty bank.
Right. Well, yeah, we'll always make designation there. All right, 2 more games. Lions and Bucks. We had Alex Anzalone turn in a really nice game. 21 points on 100% of snaps, 7 solos, 2 assists, TFL, and 2 pass defended. So very nice. It's annoying. I know it's annoying, but he's still out there for 100% of snaps. But hey, we'll see it here. I mean, Jack Campbell at least gave us some production. So for once. Will Harris is stealing the Brian Branch points. So 2 really good weeks for him in a row. So while Branch continues to potentially miss time, Will Harris is Brian Branch. So 15.5 points on 70% of snaps, comes away with another interception this week. Tracy Walker gives us a good game. I was expecting this last week, but hey, a week late, I'll take it. 14 points, 100% of snaps. Kirby Joseph right behind him, the other safety, 12 points, 100% of snaps. Julian Aquara, the edge rusher, defensive end, 12 points on just 27% of snaps, also played special teams and gave us some stats, but does get home for a sack. So not really chasing that. The only sack for the Lions in this one. So that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, the Tampa Bay has been a bad matchup, not giving up a lot of sacks. Baker not taking a lot of sacks this year. So Cameron Sutton, the corner, 11 points, 100% of snaps. He'll have this kind of a ceiling game for him, unfortunately, because we've seen him disappear despite playing 100% of snaps in a handful of games this year. So hey, we'll take the double digit this week. Jack Campbell, 10 points, 52% of snaps, 7 total tackles, nothing else, 4 assists, 3 solos. Hey, we'll take it at this point. Jerry Jacobs, the corner, 6 points, 100%. Benito Jones, the D tackle, 5 points, 41%. Aiden Hutchinson, the DN, just 4 points on 89%. Down game. You got to just eat that. Derek Barnes, still unfortunately playing LB2 snaps, but no production, just 3 points on 79%. Also chipped in a tackle on special teams. So hopefully this means Jack Campbell, this coaching will start to see it. Like, let's go. Isaiah Buggs, the defensive tackle, 3 points on 30%. Levi Onwuzurike, 2 points, 20%. John Kaminsky, the DN, just 1 point on 75%. He's more of a matchup play. Same with Aleem McNeil, the D tackle, just 1 point, but played 70% of snaps. That's really nice to see for a D tackle. So again, a better matchup, a weaker line. You might want to consider those guys in super deep leagues. Romeo Aquara, the brother, just 1 point on 16%. So how about the Lions?
Yeah, McNeil had been putting together some solid weeks.
Yes.
So this was a bit of a down. Yeah, just bad matchup. What we're looking at, 56 tackles for 100%. So low snaps, tougher matchup. We're seeing the entire defensive line here struggle a bit.
Right.
And you just got to take that. Like I said with Hutchinson, if you were playing McNeil, I know a lot of people had picked him up and were. This is just a bad week. So maybe I think Baltimore is next, and they are a better matchup.
Okay.
Maybe. I think so.
Yeah, I know the Bucks were like really bad in giving up fantasy points. So this was Yeah, this was kind of to be expected. Like they're just not giving up sacks. So, and
I know,
Baltimore, that's got to be a better matchup.
yeah, right. I know they're a really good linebacker matchup, and I believe a
Okay.
decent safety matchup. So
Yeah.
expect these. I mean, Anzalone could put together another good week next week.
Mhm.
As much as we all love to see it, it could happen. Campbell, until this team just starts losing a bunch of games, I don't see his production going up
No,
because
I
they're not
know.
going to. Uh,
If
they're
it ain't
suckling
broke,
ways on
don't
this.
fix it.
Yeah, yeah. Don't mess with it with all the problems they're having at defensive back and just trying to keep
Yeah.
guys moving there. They're not going to mess with anything else that isn't broken.
Mhm.
So until those guys start coming back, if you get Gardner Johnson back, Branch back, then you might fiddle with a linebacker or two. But I'm not holding my breath on Campbell right now.
Yeah.
Sutton, it was nice seeing a good game from him, but I don't trust him enough
Nah.
weekly. Harris, as long as he's in that role, I think he's worth the start.
Yeah. Until Branch comes back, he is Brian
Yeah,
Branch. So you probably weren't benching Brian Branch as much as like Will Harris is
right.
just not very good at football. He in this role, it's all about opportunity. So
Exactly.
I agree.
And Jerry Jacobs, a lot of people had picked him up. He was getting the interceptions and
Mhm.
all the big plays. He just didn't get them this week. So
Mhm.
streaming,
Your
you
yeah,
got to pick the right matchup.
your corners are always going to be lumpy.
That's
All
about it.
right. On the Buccaneers side, it was a Levante David game, not a Devin White game. So 30 points, 100% of snaps. David is the one who gets the sack this week, and a really strong tackle game, 9 solos, 3 assists. Pretty big drop off from there. Joe Tryon, though, 14 points on 73% of snaps. We like that. We like to see him trending up. Did get home for a sack, and hey, chipped in a pass defended, a TFL, an assist, and 3 solos. So maybe he's finally realizing his potential at the former first rounder. Vita Vea just becoming more of a fantasy reliant defensive tackle over these past few weeks. Really nice to see. 14 points, 63% of snaps. So we love to see that. Forced a fumble, which is very important. Christian Izine is the other cheat code for MFL right now. He's got corner out. He's a cornerback, but plays kind of like safety at times. So he's sort of a cheat code, 12 and a half points, only 53% of snaps this week. Devin White, hey, 11 points on 100%, 4 solos, 3 assists with nothing else. That's a floor game for him, I would say. So not horrible. The rookie first rounder defensive tackle, Kalijah Cansey, 11 points on 57%. I think that's his highest mark of the year and got home with a sack. So you like to see that for your dynasty DT required leagues. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Jamel Dean, the corner, 10.5 points on 100%. Ryan Neal, the safety, 9 points on 96%. 3 solos, 3 assists, and nothing else. Both of the safeties kind of disappointing what we thought was going to be an awesome matchup for them. And it was just, they just didn't produce. Carlton Davis, the corner, 8.5 points on 100%. Floor game for him. Antoine Winfield, the safety, just 6 points on 100% of snaps. 2 solos, 2 assists, and nothing else. Unfortunate. Shaq Barrett, just 6 points, 64% of snaps. Kind of a floor game for him. Cam Gill, backup DN, 5 points on 23% plus special teams. Yaya Diaby, 4 points on 43%. The rookie defensive end. Zion McCollum, 2.5 points on just 3%. Very much a backup corner. William Golston, the defensive tackle, 2 points, 21%. Logan Hall, 1.47%, the defensive tackle, former second rounder, kind of a bust, I think. And Greg Gaines, the backup defensive tackle, 1.34%. I don't have a lot for the Buccaneers here.
Yeah, Vita Vea, I mean, he's been fantastic this year. And it's good to see
Yeah.
him keep that good streak going.
Mhm.
Kalijah Cansey, this is like his first real game outside of a few snaps week 1. He's been injured the rest of the season, so to see him come out and get a sack right away, that's very encouraging. Jamel Dean, Ryan Neal just came back. Like I say, it was a letdown. This was a good matchup for safeties, or had been. Looked good on paper, and it just didn't manifest this week. So that was disappointing. Jamel Dean, he goes back to being a good streaming option until he's hurt again.
Yeah.
It feels like he gets hurt quite often. So definitely worth looking into the Dean or Davis for streaming options. Other than that, that's about what we'd expect. David's going to have these big games, and White will take the back seat, and then the next week it'll be the opposite.
Yep, it'll flip flop.
Yeah.
Hey, and Joe Tryon, nice to see him with the sack here. He's going to be sack or bust, of course, but hey,
right.
The snap share is really nice. Yeah. Seems like he's kind of overtaking Shaq Barrett as the primary edge rusher. So
right. Yeah, it's good to see him growing. Definitely worth a look if he's still out there, especially this one. Let me make sure they're in on bye. No, we're good. So, if he's available, it could be worth a pickup.
I mean, Ryan Neal played 96%. Great to see him back to that level. You're probably going to continue to roll him and Winfield out regardless of the matchup. I mean, their ceilings are pretty darn high. This is just kind of that's the way it lands sometimes.
Weird game. Just a weird game that that there wasn't more tackles for the safeties and the corners in this. With the way that
would have expected the Bucks to convert more and have the offense. I mean, 70 snaps is fine, but it just wasn't. It was weird.
It's odd because the Lions were more pass heavy. They're running out of running backs, so the tight end, Laporta was getting a lot of catches and all too. So you would think the safeties would be up there making these tackles, the corners would be making these tackles. So just a little odd that these numbers are a little low, and they're just not turning the ball over enough to get any big plays on them. So just a weird week.
Yep. All righty. Finally made it to the Giants and the Bills. Giants, my guy, Bobby O, tops the leaderboard, 28 points, 100% of snaps, 8 solo, 3 assists, 2 TFLs, 2 pass defended, and forced a fumble. Micah McFadden right behind him at 22.5 points, 79%. McFadden got an interception and recovered the fumble. So his games were carried by those splash plays there. Adoree Jackson, the corner, 15 points, 79%. Xavier McKinney, the safety, at least got us to double digits this week. Disappointing year so far for pretty much everyone outside of Okereke. Is just bad. So 11 points on 100% of snaps. Leonard Williams, 10 points, 90%. Jason Pinnock after the monster game, just 6 points on 100%. Cordell Flott, the corner, 5 points, 66%. Dane Belton, the backup safety, 5 points, 23%. Gave us one of his tackles on special teams. Jihad Ward, the defensive tackle, 4 points, 67%. Trey Hawkins, the corner, 3.5 points, 18%. Darnay Holmes, the corner, 3.5 points, 15%. Deontay Banks, the rookie corner, played 100% of snaps, but just 2.5 points, 1 solo. That's not great. Kayvon Thibodeau, another guy who's forcing us to start him, but just 2 points, playing 92% of snaps. That's Max Crosby level, and he's just not giving it to us. 1 solo, nothing else. Dexter Lawrence, a stinker, 2 points, 1 solo on 80%. Ashawn Robinson matched that production on just 10%. The backup defensive tackle. Raheem Nunez-Roche, the other defensive tackle, 1 point, 31%. Carlos Boogie Basham, the defensive end, just 1 point on 15%. And here lies Isaiah Simmons, back to what he's supposed to be, 0 points on 18% of snaps, played 43% of special teams, 0 burger after 100% snap game in relief of Micah McFadden. So this is Micah McFadden's job when healthy. Isaiah Simmons should not be rostered and only played if Micah McFadden goes back down with injury.
And he continues to be rostered everywhere. People just cannot let him go. You owe him nothing. Drop the dude.
Yeah.
What's crazy is McFadden doesn't play 100%, but Simmons did in relief for him, which I found just wild. I assume it's more of his skill set to drop into coverage a little more there. So
I noticed that too. I was like, ugh. I was a little scared there for a minute, but I was like, it's Isaiah Simmons.
Exactly. Yep, back to earth. Okereke is the guy here. I'm with you. McKinney's been disappointing. Solid, but not great. We were hoping for great. A lot of disappointment here. Deontay Banks, I thought, would have a good season. He has not really done much of anything. Thibodeau,
he's flashed like 1 week, I think.
Yeah, one maybe. Low tackle numbers. Lawrence, he's been down. I mean, just it's not good in New York right now on either side of the ball.
Oh, no.
Yeah, once you get past the two linebackers and then McKinney, that's about it. Pinnock, he's had some good weeks, but you can't rely on him. Yeah, it's ugly. But yeah.
Thibodeau, I might try to stash if you can afford it because he's getting the snaps and I feel like he's got a good ceiling, but man, it's frustrating.
I don't know why they're not getting any pressure here. Is it just not enough push from the inside to go with it? I mean, because last year, with Ojulari and Thibodeau, we were like, hey, this could be an up and coming, duo here, and flat on their face right now.
Did Ojulari officially go to IR? I think I saw that.
I think so. I think I've seen that as well.
Yes, he did. So let's hope he can figure it out and get right.
Yeah, they need somebody to rush the pass. I'm surprised Boogie Basham hasn't turned into something. They traded for him. I was like, finally, he's going to break out. He's done nothing. They're just not giving him the snaps either. And I don't know why.
They're not really giving him opportunity. So
they have nothing to lose by putting him in there and giving him a shot.
Yeah, agreed. I'm good. All right. For Buffalo, we had huge games from the defensive backfield. So Teron Johnson, 31 points, 95%, 9 solos, 6 assists, so huge tackles, and also a pass defended. Christian Benford regains his 100% of snap role, 24.5 points, 8 solos, 1 assist, a TFL, and a pass defended. So despite the Giants' woes, they continue to be an awesome matchup for the defensive backfield. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But somehow corners just eat against this team. So if you're streaming corners,
that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been streaming against the Giants cornerbacks, and it makes 0 sense because that offense doesn't look like it gives up any tackles to corners. It's wild.
So whether it's Tyrod or Daniel Jones, it appears safe to continue because I was like, all right, corners were doing so good because it was Daniel Jones, but hey, look at this. They're going to stay at the top of matchups. So.
Well, then when Barkley was out, I thought, well, maybe it has something to do with him not being in there. Well, he come back, he's getting all the rushes, and it's still the corners. It's wild.
Yeah. Terrell Bernard continues a monster breakout, 24 points, 100% of snaps. Dorian Williams. So, hey, I guess I was wrong. He took over as LB2. What's that?
All of us were.
Yeah. They threw us a curveball with the way they handled things last week. So Dorian Williams, 17 points, 84% of snaps. So we'll dig into him. I started both Leonard Floyd and Greg Rousseau in one league, and it worked out. We had 11 points for Floyd on 58%, who got the sack. Rousseau gave you 10 points without the sack, which is unlike him. So very nice to have that. AJ Epinesa still, got home again this week. 10 points, but just 27% of snaps. People are still going to fall for it. I'm telling you, he's going to disappear here soon. He's going back to a pumpkin as Von Miller continues to ramp up. So if you want to, unless you're in the best ball league, don't waste your time. Micah Hyde, 9 points, 100% of snaps. Jordan Poyer, 7 points on 100%. Khair Elam, the corner, 6 points on 100%. Steer and Neal, 5 points on just 17%, the backup corner. So here's Tyrell Dodson, the linebacker, just 4 points, 5% of defensive snaps, played 81% on special teams. Shaq Lawson, the DN, 3.17%. Jordan Phillips, the DT, 2 points on 48%. Poona Ford, the DT, 1.25%. Another huge letdown here. And Oliver, 0 points on 87% of snaps. And Von Miller with a 0 on 35%. So we saw Von Miller creep up, but no production this week. So a lot to talk about. Let's start with Dorian Williams versus Tyrell Dodson. So what happened when Matt Milano went out last week? It was Dorian Williams who came in first on the first drive, maybe 2 after Milano, but Dodson kind of finished the game and finished with a higher snap count. So that led us to believe that Dodson would get the shot this week, and we were just wrong. So the teams kind of tricked us on that one because there was no clear better player between Williams and Dodson. Despite people's love for Williams, he was a new shiny rookie, but a third rounder. Terrell Bernard is a third rounder. I was Team Bernard all season, so I'm glad to have hit that. But definitely wrong here on Williams versus Dodson. So it appears it is Williams' job. Do you concur?
Yeah, I mean, I was thrown for the same curveball, and it was Williams just about all game except for like the final drive this time, and then it was Dodson. And so
weird.
I don't get it if it was just the passing plays that they knew were coming, or I don't understand what's going on. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ Klein is the guy next week just to really piss us off.
That would be fitting.
Yeah, so I'm trusting Bernard. He's proven all season that he's a guy. Williams is getting the playing time. So if you're going to choose one, go with Williams. I picked up Epinesa in several leagues this week just for this matchup because I knew the Giants aren't good. So I went with that, and I'll be dropping him again this next week. Just
that's how to do it.
And I'm dropping. Yeah. Another guy I picked up, who I was surprised was out there, was Ed Oliver. That guy goose egged me so bad this week. I've been upset. What happened?
You know what? He was known for doing this prior to this year. And literally in my write-up, I was like, you could finally trust Ed Oliver. So I'm mushing people the other way. So in the beginning of the year, I was calling Kyle Hamilton a bust, and then he had his monster breakout. Yeah. But he's kind of going back to a bust. I was giving someone else a hard time, and they broke out. So now I finally say that Ed Oliver is trustworthy, and he gives us a 0 burger. So I'm just mushing people the wrong way, one way or the other here this season. I don't know, man. But he did this so far his entire career. He'll give you this huge game and then absolutely nothing. Now, he had been super consistent up until this week, but here he is going back to his old tricks of a 0 burger. So I'm still going to believe that he's coming along and his age is leading him to become a more consistent option despite this bad week. I'm going to give him a pass, is what I'm saying. I'm giving him a pass for this week.
This matchup was so good that I don't even know if I can give him the pass. Like, I'm that pissed off about it. I'm not happy at all with it. Yeah, what a goose egg, man. That one's rough. But yeah, if you picked up Epinesa, hopefully you did what I did and you played him this week and are going to drop him for something better. And it's Dorian Williams is the best I can tell you. Last week I told you get Dotson though, so take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. And Floyd and Rousseau remain streaming matchup plays. This was a good matchup, and you got what you could out of them. That we'll have to haven't dove in yet, but you know they remain pretty much matchup plays. So keep your eyes out for the written content on that. But yeah, it looks like go with Dorian Williams, right?
Yeah, I think you have to. Even if he's not going to get the entire game, he's getting the majority right now. There was Dotson last week, so yeah, I mean it's possible it could change again. If you can afford to stay away from this duo, I would.
Sure.
Just to give it one more week, because after last week, we all knew it was Dotson because he played the entire game.
Yeah.
And then this week we know it's Williams because he played the entire game. So we know nothing. Is what I'm getting at.
No, that's a very good point. Be maybe cautiously optimistic with Williams.
Right. But he's the one I would lean to right now. But if you can afford to not pick up either one or have to play either one, that would be your best option right now.
Gotcha.
And the last thing I see here is Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. I was expecting a better game from these two.
Yeah.
With the uncertainty in front of them at linebacker, I thought, Williams, Dotson, they're going to come in, both be kind of rookie-like and miss a bunch. These guys would come in behind and clean up and rack up a few more tackles, and it didn't happen. So I'm ready to cut either one of these guys. If anybody's still holding on to Poyer, there's no need. He's just not the same guy anymore.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Does that do it?
That's it.
Well, dude, we're about to go to 3 hours here. We've just crushed the previous record between me and Mr. _Sicoli by about a solid 10, 15 minutes here. So congratulations. God bless.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good. God bless anybody who's going to stick around for all 3 hours. I think it's worth it. We are going to have the timestamps, the per game. If you're watching on YouTube, is flashing across so you can hop around to get different games that you care about. But boy, this is awesome. This is so much fun. I really appreciate pulling the relief duty here. Matt couldn't make it this week. I probably be back next week. So but boy, thank you. And you did great. Really appreciate it. So tell everyone where they can find you again, and yeah, just give us your spiel and everything you work with, everything that you contribute to, not just here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I've enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun here. But yeah, on the Twitter at Shawn8386. You can find me at idpguys.org, doing some write-ups, doing some start sits on Sunday mornings. In the Discord, that's where I hang around a lot. We're there all the time, ready for all questions, start sits, trades, anything you can think of. If you want to talk about Star Wars, we're there for that. So anything you want, come check us out in the Discord. Still do a little bit with IDP Nation as well.
Yeah.
We haven't been doing a whole lot over there. It's been hard to get us all together to do some pods there. So hopefully we'll get that back on track soon.
Absolutely.
Yes. Personalized getting in the way of our fantasy lives here.
Yeah, unfortunately, right? That's the way it rolls sometimes.
Yeah.
But yes, you're doing awesome work here. Great debut on the IDP Plus pod. I know you've been hopping on the start sits, helping people, and the written content is just out of this world. So really appreciate everything. So
yeah, I appreciate the kind words there.
For sure. Very, very much deserved. So all right. And I am Dynasty Santa, Steve Thomason, on the Twitters as well. DMs are open, although I think you have to be verified now, but who knows? You can always just tag me or tag the IDP guys account if you need any help, but we certainly would prefer you come on in as a subscriber, jump into that Discord. You'll get immediate access, 24/7 access to myself and all the other great analysts for your IDP and offense. You should see how much offense gets talked in the Discord. It's crazy, but we help with everything. So we're specialists in IDP, but we know our stuff with offense as well. So you get the full round, coverage for fantasy, offense, and defense. Use the code IDP plus pod plus sign for 10% off and give us a shot. And we'll see you next week. And thanks for listening.
Thank you for watching this IDP Guys video. If you like this content and you want more fantasy football content, click here. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos to help you master your IDP league, click here to subscribe.